for Sports 56 Middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Sports 56 Middays is presented by FedEx. FedEx, helping small businesses simplify e-commerce.
We, the North, are now we, the champions. The Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs.
3-2. Here it is! The Washington Nationals are world champions for the first time in franchise history.
Let the good times roll. LSU sits on the throne of college football.
And this one is over. Kansas City has won their first Super Bowl in 50 years.
Now, here are your hosts for Sports 56 Middays, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Land out in the countryside, lay back and smell the sun, warm up the Georgia pie. Feels so good to be taking it easy. Why would I ever leave? 'Cause I know I got some good friends.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome into Sports 56 Middays. Another scorcher of a day here in Memphis and the Mid-South. 3 hours of scintillating sports talk is ready for you. We're glad you're with us here on this Tuesday, July 21st, 2020 in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy has returned, and Gabe Kuhn. We're all together once again. Sports 56 Middays delivered each and every day by our title and presenting sponsor, and that's the great folks at the FedEx Corporation. Visit FedEx.com/e-commerce to see how FedEx helps small businesses grow every single day. And again, thank you to FedEx for everything they're doing on the front lines in this battle against COVID-19, delivering the medical kits and the medical supplies, the test kits, and everything needed for this ongoing and long enduring battle. But they have done everything they can, and we really appreciate our association with the great folks at FedEx. Coming up on this program today, we're going to be very busy. We're going to be talking some NFL with Howard Balzer, Hall of Fame show on Sirius XM Radio. He's been in St. Louis radio for years and years and years. And Howard's going to join us at 10:25 to talk about the latest with the NFL. I think some significant headway was made yesterday between the Players Association and the league as far as COVID-19 testing as we get ready for camps to open up on the 28th. The 28th, yesterday, the Chiefs and the Texans welcomed their rookies to camp. Other rookies will be headed to their respective teams later this week. Some have pushed back that arrival date for a couple of days. But again, by the 28th, it's the full arsenal of players for every single NFL team. And we'll talk to Howard about that. At 11:25, our Tuesday regular Steve Macy, Senior Associate AD at the University of Memphis. We'll have Humdinger's Trivia. That'll come your way at 11 o'clock. 2.5 questions on the docket today. Also, it's the NFL 3-for-all. Today we'll take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. And in our 5 favorite songs, the topic today is Cry or Crying. You could send your list to us via the First Bank text line at 67129. Or if you are watching us live, you can message us with the lists at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. Eli Savoy, how are you? Hope you had a great vacation. Eli? Is Eli there?
Interesting. I have.
I'm good.
There
Yes,
he is.
I did.
He made it.
You see, he was still on vacation for the
Yeah.
first 5 minutes.
Hello.
We got you.
Can you not hear me?
No, we can hear you. We can hear you. See, Eli, I don't think he's getting any return right now.
All right.
That's interesting.
All right, well, we'll figure it out with Eli.
All right. Can you got me now?
Yeah, we've had
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now I got you.
Okay, welcome back. I said I hope you had a great vacation.
I did. It was very, very nice. Great weather. Did my social distancing as best we could. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's interesting to go see the beaches down in Florida with all that is going on. It is a little weird because I mean there were a lot of people down there. But for the most part, I mean, when you're down on the beach areas, like the groups of people stay, like there's distance, as you normally was. Oh, you're just going to pile on top of the group next to you anyway. But there are some, big groups of people down there together. So I don't know what their connection is, and I don't know where they've all come from, if they've come from different parts of the country together or whatever. But I mean, you see some groups of 10, 12 people all together as one big group down there. But for the most part, the groups themselves kind of stay separated, and most people, not on the beach, but when you're out and about elsewhere at restaurants and various other places, people wearing masks and doing all of that good stuff. And the restaurants are, 50% capacity. And talking to a friend down there that owns restaurants down there, said they've been, they're pretty diligent about coming by and checking and making sure employees are wearing masks and doing checks, whether it be the health department or others, they're constantly kind of coming around and doing some checks on places to make sure that they are following the rules that are in place. And obviously, with what's going on in Florida, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I was going to say, with all that said, with them adhering to the mandates and the social distancing and wearing masks and doing those things, Florida is inundated with positive tests. So who knows where that's all coming from, and even if it's happening on the beach despite social distancing. So it's hard to equate them doing it the right way in Florida when those numbers are astronomical. And turning it into the sports world, yesterday we had the news that California will not have fall high school football. It will not start till minimum December at the earliest, maybe January or even later. Yet Florida, high school football as usual. They're ready to rock and roll. We don't know what's happening yet in the state of Tennessee, and we should pretty soon, but I'm going to imagine that they're going to start on time, if anything, maybe a week or two delay. But I don't even know if that'll be the case. It's interesting. In Florida and in the South, where the numbers are really bad, we just love our football so much. We're playing high school football. We'll figure it out with college. The SEC will probably try to figure out a way to play 12 games as opposed to just conference games. Whereas out in California, they're like, hey, man, we're not doing anything. We'll play conference games maybe right now in college. And in high school, sorry, that ain't happening. So you can see the difference in just where we are in this country. California, the numbers are pretty bad. Florida, the numbers are really bad. Yet Florida's moving forward with football.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that there is in the South, there just seems to be a different kind of attitude, I guess, about trying to get these things done. As you said, we'll see what Tennessee ends up doing. But yeah, I mean, it's in these states. It's got to be a hard decision on high school football because if you're going to have kids in school, then you would think, well, why not let them play football? We're putting them in classrooms together. Why not let them play football?
Right.
But there is a lot more, obviously, in a classroom. You can do some sort of social distancing, and you could wear a mask, and you could do things like that. Where in a football field, there's going to be obviously a lot of contact, so I get that. But you're also, these kids, as far as trying to get in college scholarships and everything else, if you take away that, for a high school senior, his final season of football, what does that do to his future and ability to go to college? There's a lot of stuff that has to be weighed there.
Well, I don't know how much you were paying attention to everything that was going on here while you were in Florida and on vacation. But one show I had Rodney Salisbury on, and I know you had Thomas McDaniel, the Christian Brothers High School coach, the week prior, but we had Rodney Salisbury on, the Whitehaven coach. And earlier, or the day before, they had announced that if the student was going to, and they had the option, they still have the option to go right now to the classroom when school starts or online classes. That, as far as I know, that's the option they have until if they change anything and they say it's only online. But right now it's like both. So you pick. And it was the TSSAA that announced that if you are doing online classes, you can't participate in sports. So that same afternoon, I go, wait till this response happens. Boom. I don't know personally, but I know through what Rodney Salisbury told us, they were just inundated with coaches saying that's not fair, this and that. And they changed it. That afternoon, they changed it and said, okay, if you go online only, you still can play fall sports. So I understood completely where Rodney was coming from and all the students. But again, that's a little bit strange. if you're not going into the classroom, you're staying at home for classes, yet you're getting together your practice gear and you're heading over to practice or your game uniform to go play a game. So it's all strange, but it's very understandable. And I knew that was not going to be a favorable decision, that first decision they made. The second one certainly was what the coaches were hoping, and they changed their mind very quickly.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, if you don't feel the classroom is safe enough to go into, then how can you feel that it's safe enough to go onto the football field and play a game or practice, as you said? Although, again, you could still do the classwork at home and still be able to do that stuff and do the virtual learning or whatever online stuff. Whereas that if you're hoping to get a college scholarship or something like that, there's no way to make up for not playing football.
No, look, you could play in a perfect world. Well, not a perfect world. It's an imperfect world right now. But as far as the COVID-19 battle is going on, if you were going home, taking online classes, and not going out to socialize, and then just showed up for practice or the games, I think you'd be fine. But these are kids, and they also have a life. They're not in a bubble like they are with the NBA down in Florida. So they're at home. They're taking classes online. Okay, that's fine. So they're not in the classroom with other kids around them. But I guarantee you when they're not either doing homework, taking the classes online, or practicing their respective sports, they're out socializing. And that defeats the purpose. So it is a very odd situation.
The ones you're playing against aren't all home, aren't all staying home for school. I mean,
no,
many of those are
right.
I mean, because a lot of them, those parents can't have them at home. I mean, those parents are working or whatever, and need to get kids out of the house or whatever. So they're going to be playing against a lot of kids who are in no way staying home. So you're going to be out there breathing on them and spitting on them and having contact with them constantly during that game. So, I mean, there's a lot more chance of getting it on a football field than there is in a classroom, you would think.
That's true. But it also comes down to the legal ramifications. Are kids that are deciding to, and their parents really are deciding for them, and rightly so, whether or not they're going to go to class at school or online, do they have to sign a waiver? Do the athletes have to sign a waiver? We know in college that most of these student athletes have been asked to sign a waiver, although we talked to Steve Macy last week about that, and that was for basically the voluntary time period with the school. And now, of course, this Friday, camps open up around the country, opens up for the University of Memphis. But will they have to sign another waiver? We know that Ohio State and other colleges have asked their student athletes to do that as well. I mean, what's going to happen with high school? So that's always a worry down the road as far as the legalities of this is concerned. If, God forbid, somebody not just tested positive, but tested positive and had to go and be hospitalized and, God forbid, lost their life, even though it's very, very rare right now for students or young adults of that age.
Yeah, I mean, the death rate under the age of 60, basically. I mean, or certainly under 50, and if you go down into those ages, teenagers into early 20s with college kids. I mean, yeah, your chances of getting it and dying from it are minute. Mm-hmm. But yes, if it does, then there's a liability factor that these high schools, colleges, everybody else does want to protect themselves from, and especially in the society we live in today, everybody's always looking to blame somebody for something and sue them for it. So, there's got to be a lot of consideration taken. Some public high school doesn't exactly have the money to afford a lawsuit over liability of what happened to one of the kids because they decided to put them on the football field. I mean, that's the big thing there. The state of Texas, who certainly loves their football, they've announced their plan for their high school football season, which is weird. They're going to do it differently by classification. Their 1A through 4A football is going to start on time, whereas their 5A and 6A football is pushed back basically a month.
What's the reasoning behind that?
I do not know. I'm just
on the surface, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
I'm just looking at it.
But maybe there's some method to the madness.
Yeah, their 1A through 4A football will be, starting first day of practice August 3rd. 5A and 6A football first day of practice will be September 7th. So basically 1 month, exactly, or just over a month later, they're going to start practice. Games will start a month later as well.
Yeah, if they were all practicing in the same facility and they were all playing games at the same stadium one after another, staggering it maybe makes a little sense, but that's not the case. That's not the case. They're all in their different stadiums. They're all playing in different classifications. But every state will make a different decision upon what they want to do with fall sports at the high school level and, of course, at the collegiate level as well.
I don't know. Obviously, you're talking about the bigger schools. I don't know if that is an effort, maybe, with those bigger schools, 5A and 6A. They think if they push it back a month, maybe there's a chance to have fans at games because those
the almighty dollar.
The 5A and 6A schools in Texas, I mean, you're talking about, massive crowds.
That's a good point.
We're not talking about 1,000 people who show up for a high school football game. And some of those schools are drawing 15,000, 20,000 people for high school football games down there.
Yeah, so you're telling me money could factor into this thing? Is that a possibility? Now, I think that's a good point you make. Yesterday, the NFL, and we're going to talk with Howard Balzer after the timeout, took a significant step in trying to iron out the issues that they're having right now between the players and the league as far as testing for COVID-19. So they decided that NFL players will get testing daily for the first 2 weeks of training camp. You know how many tests that is? How much money that is? But that's what they agreed upon yesterday, daily testing for the first 2 weeks of training camp. Now, after 2 weeks, if the positive test rate is below 5%, the league would scale back to testing every other day. Also, Adam Schefter reported yesterday from ESPN that the NFL has offered the Players Association to play 0 preseason games. That seemed to be the avenue we were going down. It hasn't been accepted yet or announced, but more than likely they won't play a preseason game. They already dropped it from 4 to 2. But significant steps yesterday that we'll talk to Howard about as far as making sure that both sides are on the same page as we move forward to the opening of camp.
Yeah, it's nice for the NFL to actually think, okay, I guess we probably should have some things in place before we just tell people to come to camp. It's very, very nice of them. Just real considerate of them to go, you know what? I guess you guys do have a point. Maybe we should tell you what our plan is before you guys show up for camp.
All they've had is time to figure these things out. That's all they've had. Meanwhile, the NBA yesterday reported 0 positive tests out of 346 players tested for COVID-19. The screenings began on Wednesday of last week, and that is – no, it wasn't Wednesday of last week, I guess when they first arrived there. But 346 players tested, 0 positive tests.
Yeah, I mean, that's in this world we live in where we haven't – we don't seem to get a whole lot of positive news on a daily basis. That's very good. Very, very nice to see that – maybe, just maybe, this whole bubble thing can work even, better than what we had imagined.
Well, I think it can. The thing is, everybody in every livelihood can't work in a bubble. It would be nice for some of the other sports to be able to do it. You just can't do it from a logistics standpoint. But the NBA right now, knock on wood, seems to be working. Got some more news from the bubble that we'll get to a little bit later on in the show. Some interesting comments made by Magic Johnson about Ja Morant and Taylor Jenkins. If you didn't hear yesterday, they announced that the voting for Rookie of the Year, MVP, Coach of the Year, all that stuff will take place without the resumption of the season taken into consideration. So it's only going to be pre-COVID-19, which obviously bodes very, very well for Ja Morant. But Taylor Jenkins getting some consideration. We'll tell you about Magic Johnson's comments about that. Scrimmages begin tomorrow. The Grizzlies will play their first of 3 scrimmage games on Friday. Next week, the resumption of the season. Major League Baseball, the season begins, the 60-game season begins on Thursday. They continue with exhibition games. So we are obviously pushing forward, moving in the right direction. Next week, the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational, which we will talk about a little bit later on in the show. But when we return, it's all about the NFL as we move forward. The opening of camp is on the 28th of July. The 28th of July, we'll talk with Howard Balzer, the Hall of Fame show host on Sirius XM Radio. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Sports 56 mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hertz. Weekdays from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 FM.
Ugh, my stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's now in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And now you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Let me try it.
Try new Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
A non-attorney spokesperson. The Ted O'Neill Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is responsible for the content of this ad. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is one of the most common cancers in the United States. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and were exposed to Roundup weed killer, you could be entitled to cash compensation. Bayer, the owner of Roundup, will pay more than $10 billion to cancer victims of weed killer Roundup. Call our weed killer cancer hotline now to see if you are entitled to cash compensation. Roundup has been one of the most commonly used herbicides in the U.S. If you or someone you love has been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and exposed to Roundup, call now. Our attorneys have the experience and specialize in fighting for everyday people to get you the compensation you deserve. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and were exposed to Roundup weed killer, even if the loved one has passed away, call 800-409-7148 now to see if you are entitled to compensation. But hurry, time is limited. Call 800-409-7148. 800-409-7148.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage. Factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
There's a new commissary in town in Collierville. Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking, no telephone pole to get in your way, a cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx.
Here once again
are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Let's do it.
Well, she was an American girl, raised up in privacy.
Welcome back, everybody. 10:26 the time, hour number one here on Sports 56 Middays, the Tuesday, July 21st, 2020 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Gabe Kuhn. Howard Balzer joins us here in just a second. Reminder, our NFL 3-for-all teams today, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers, of course, formerly in San Diego. So we got a couple of programs, couple of organizations that have been around for quite some time. And again, if you'd like to contribute to our conversation when we get to the NFL 3-for-all, you can always text in your 3 to the First Bank text line at 67129. Without further ado, he is Howard Balzer, Hall of Fame show host on Sirius XM Radio, radio personality in St. Louis for years and years, covering the National Football League. You can follow him on Twitter at HBalzer721. Howard Balzer joins us now on Sports 56 Middays. Howard, I hope you're well. Thanks for joining us.
Doing well. Hope you guys are also, and that everyone there in your great city is doing well also.
Appreciate that. So we were talking earlier about yesterday, some significant news, some significance as far as the protocol for how they're dealing with COVID-19 in the National Football League, with camps opening up on the 28th. As you know, they're going to have testing daily for the first 2 weeks of training camp. That was agreed upon with the union and the NFL. My question is, right now, I know people that have had to wait around a week to 10 days to get results of a test back, a COVID-19 test. How are they going to pull that off? Daily testing, getting results back, and what kind of cost are we talking about with that much testing to that many players?
You know, I don't know what the total cost is, but I know it is pretty expensive, certainly. And the NFL is footing the bill for most of it. I did hear that if there are extra tests needed, that then it comes down to the club's responsibility. So a lot of that, I think, is to be determined. But what they've done is they're doing all this testing privately, which I'm fairly certain the NBA is also. Well, I think it's you might know better than me the name of the company. I think it's Bioscience or something very similar to that. And so, you know, they're going to be there with the test, and they're going to be able to get the results relatively quickly. And I know there is a certain amount of pushback in that, well, boy, the leagues are able to do this and have all this testing and have quick results, while people out in the general community are waiting sometimes days, sometimes a week for results of a test. And so, but they are doing it on their own, and have gone, like I said, gone to private companies to get this accomplished. And so, you know, we'll see how it plays out. But it was good. You know, the player. You know, it's funny. I wanted to mention one thing, because I keep hearing, and it kind of drives me a little bit nuts, when everyone says, well, the players got what they wanted. The NFL gave the players what they wanted. Well, the reality of this, and I've heard a lot of comments about, boy, why did they all wait till the last minute? Why couldn't they get this done? Well, there was a task force that was put together back, I know it's at least April, and it might have been late March, but it's at least April, where a task force was a joint task force of the NFL and the NFLPA, of which each entity had doctors on it that they appointed. The NFL's had team trainers and strength coaches, and they worked at a lot of these protocols in terms of what they wanted it to be. Now, let's remember, back in April, they had no idea that come June, there was all of a sudden going to be this surge in a lot of these, in a bunch of these cities. I think the three big states have 8 NFL teams, Florida, Texas,
California,
and Arizona, California, those 4 areas. So anyway, they had to adjust a little bit there when they saw all these hot spots and players saying, hey, do I want to fly into Houston with my family and my kids to what's going in there, or whatever cities you want to mention in those states. So anyway, I want to get to this as quick as possible. The recommendation for daily testing, for an acclimation period of 21 days at the start of camp, no preseason games, that recommendation came from the task force, not just the NFLPA. But the narrative has been, well, this is what the players wanted. Well, yeah, the players do want it, but the people on the NFL, part of the task force from the NFL, agreed to the recommendation, and then the NFL tried to move off it, and the owners. They said, oh, you want a longer acclimation period? Come to training camp 2 weeks early. And, you know, they cut preseason to 2 games. Then there was word they might cut it to 1. So the whole thing is being played like, well, the NFL is giving in to the players. And I think what might happen here, and I think is very important, because there are a lot of issues on the financial end that still have to be worked out with the salary cap. If it goes down next year, how will that be handled? And so it's as if the NFL is saying, well, we gave in on this, you guys have to give in on this. And the players are saying, well, no, those are separate issues. Health, that's one aspect of it. And then the other side are the economics. And that's why they wanted it separated. The NFL wanted it together. So it's going to be interesting to see, as the days go on here, what happens with some of these financial issues, and how long the NFL plays it out to where they figure the players will just say, okay, we'll take the best we can get. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that all occurs in these next few weeks.
Howard, with the preseason, if they don't play any preseason games, certainly it affects some of those later draft picks, guys trying to make rosters as undrafted free agents, things like that. But for the most part, for the veteran guys, how much effect do you think that has if they don't play any preseason games?
It'll have somewhat of an effect. I don't think there's any doubt about it. But obviously, every team will be operating under the same rules. Mm-hmm. And the reality is, when you look back at the last couple years or few years, I mean, how much did those veterans, starters, top players, how much did they really play in these preseason games anyway? Mm-hmm. And so I think that it will be a challenge for the teams and the coaches to have the players truly ready for a game situation. But then again, you talk to players all the time and they say, hey, regular season really ramps up several levels from what those preseason games are in terms of intensity and all those things. The big key with all of it is, and why it was interesting to see the NFL push back on some of this acclimation and all that acclimation period. I mean, these guys not only haven't had an off-season program and been on the field for OTAs and minicamp and all that, but unlike 2011 during the lockout, at least then players were able to go to gyms and work out on their own during that period. For the most part, they haven't been able to do that this time around because of the pandemic and the rules in individual areas. And so you would have thought the NFL would have been bending over backwards saying, hey, when we want guys coming to camp, get into really good physical shape first, assess where everybody is before we start having them running around and cutting and doing all those things to football and then putting pads on. Because all you're asking for is a lot more injuries. So a lot of people say, players are concerned about injuries. Well, you think the owners would be too. You think they want you think they don't want their players getting hurt. Fans go, stop whining, guys. Well, you think fans don't want their top players on their favorite teams to get hurt. And they found back in 2011 after the lockout that overall injuries were up 25%, hamstring injuries were up 44%, and Achilles injuries doubled. So, those are the things that you want to, at least to the best you can, get players in pretty darn good shape, and you just don't do that in a handful of days.
Yeah, and from the health standpoint and getting ready for real game action by playing a preseason game or two, even if the stars don't play too much, that's one aspect of it. The other is the financial aspect. I don't know what type of ratings the preseason games get, but I do know they sell a lot of sponsorships. And you're talking 4 games normally, which would be 20 total with the 16 regular season games. So you're losing 20% of your games. What type of revenue deficit is that for NFL owners?
There will be a drop in revenue. There's no question about that. I don't think it's certainly not 20% in terms of TV, because while they do get pretty solid ratings, it doesn't approach what the regular season is, and obviously what the prime time ratings are during the regular season with the Thursday night games and Monday night and Sunday night. So there will be an effect in the revenue. Everyone understands that. But what, the argument that at least came from the player side is, why should guys be flying all over the country, playing in these meaningless games? And if you play one or two, then the starters are, and you mentioned about the undrafted players, late round picks, they would have probably played less anyway in a 2-game or a 1-game preseason, because you'd be playing your main guys a little bit more just to get them into a little bit better playing shape. And so, but they were saying, why fly all over the country for this, for meaningless games, and taking a chance of having positive tests coming out of it because of players going against each other. I mean, this is really the classic, a contact disease being put forward in a contact sport. And granted, there's contact in there's contact in hockey, obviously, contact in the NBA to a degree, but certainly not to the level of football on every single play. And so, that's why from playing the games, it just didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. Get the players in better physical condition and all those things. And then the aspect of those young, it's going to affect them. But here's the thing. When you're talking about, they're expanding the practice squad to 16. So you'll plus 53 on the regular roster. So that's 69 guys right there. And so you're a lot of the guys will make the team based on training camp. And a lot of them are going to probably get opportunities if you have some positive tests. And the other part, some players are saying, well, they're not going to have that game tape. So when a guy is cut on, the cut to 53, teams haven't seen them in games. They haven't seen tape. Well, I would suspect that a lot of the pro personnel scouts from teams will be taking trips to training camps and watching. Now, granted, it's not watching them in games, but at least they're going to be watching a lot of those bottom of the roster guys to see how they look in those circumstances, to see guys that they've probably known about anyway from college and from the tape that they've watched, and now they see a little bit more. So I think those guys are still going to have opportunity. It'll just be a little bit different, obviously.
With the salary, with the revenue situation, how do you think it affects the cap the next couple of years? And how big of an influence did that play, you think, in some of these, especially these franchise tagged players and contract negotiations with these teams knowing or not really knowing exactly what the cap's going to do in the next year or so?
No, that's definitely a great point, because I think that it did affect some of the longer term contracts, and we did see some of them. But no one knows where this cap is going to be next year, and that's one of the things that they have to settle in the next few weeks or whenever it's going to be, because the cap is going to go down next. Or let's put it this way: the revenue will go down in this league, whether it's partially from preseason TV, partially, obviously, a lot from not having as many fans, But I would also suspect, though, back to the one point about training camp, I would think that we're going to see a lot more of, quote, scrimmages or whatever they're doing in teams being televised, and a lot of people will still watch that. So I don't know how much less it'll be, because people will be so starving to see these teams. A lot of people will probably watch it. But, in terms of the cap, the revenue is going to go down. No one really knows how much, but it could be pretty significant. And so the NFL wants wants the drop in the cap to be pretty much figured or taken care of in maybe 1 or 2 future years. Let's say in 2022 and 2023, so it doesn't go down as much next year, because that not only affects players, it will affect teams. Where all of a sudden they're going to have guys under contract, and if all of a sudden the team is $40 million over the cap because of a lower cap, that teams are going to have to reduce guys that they don't want to reduce. Now, how many will accept pay cuts because they know this is facing all the teams at the same time? But anyway, what the players are hoping for is they remember they signed a new CBA just days before the new league year began. So they're proposing that whatever the shortfall is next year, that it's played out over the rest of the agreement. So let's say the revenue's down whatever million it is per team. Well, then don't lower the cap next year. Maybe keep it flat, and then whatever the increase would be the next year, you do it less, and you do it. So it's $40 million a team. Then maybe each year of 10 years or 8-9 years, whatever it is, it lowers it by $4 million. But and it makes, to me, it makes sense to do it that way for that reason that I talked about, and for this reason. And this has been brought up by NFLPA leadership. The players now playing are the ones taking the risk. And should they be the ones then that bear the brunt of next year and perhaps the year after of bear the brunt of a lower cap? Play it out over a number of years to a lot of the players that will be signing contracts. Then the new players that will be coming in, while a certain number of players now in 4 or 5 years won't even be in the league.
Right.
And so why should they bear the brunt of it next year and the year after? And so to me, that makes logical sense. But, again, the NFL's playing it out as they do, waiting for a deadline and seeing if they can get the best deal possible. But it would seem to me that would be the smartest deal for them, too.
Makes a lot of sense.
Spread it out over as many years as they can, because it benefits the teams also.
Howard Balzer joining us here on the program. All right, one final thing. I'm going to go full circle to the COVID-19. So we got some of the protocol in place yesterday, but there's still a lot to go. Have we heard of any restrictions of things that players can't do, things like baseball, the way baseball ironed out what you can and what you can't do? Have we heard anything about that? And number two, have we heard what happens when players test positive, how long they have to sit out? Obviously, there's no bubble situation like the NBA. Have we gotten so far? Have we gotten to those details yet?
They're not in terms of being settled, but they have been talking about them. And that's been a question that has been brought up numerous times. Of, like you said, how long do you have to be isolated for? Is it 2 weeks? What happens if all of a sudden you have this outbreak? I mean, even if you have results of tests in 24 hours, suppose a guy tests positive one day and it's an offensive lineman who's working in individual drills with his fellow linemen and then is in the huddle with all the other teammates, and then they're blocking against defensive linemen and linebackers, and who knows how many people, how many teammates might be exposed. And then what happens if this guy, they find out he tested positive, now you tested everybody he came in contact with, and let's say you have another 10 positives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you do if you find this out before a game, a couple days before? Well, those are the questions that haven't been answered. And, I mean, it could just take a team down. And that's one of the things that I've thought of all along in this, how this is going to affect the competitive aspect of this sport for this season. And in terms of what they're allowed or not allowed to do, it's a little different in football with the equipment guys are wearing and all those things. There's talk of some wearing these shields on their faces. Some players, I'm sure some players will, some players won't. But the biggest thing to me is, what will the players do when they leave the facility every day?
Right.
Will they be smart? And that's the biggest thing, because we're talking about a lot of guys here. I mean, baseball's talking about, what do they have, 40 guys on their rosters now. They'll be cutting down to 30. The NFL teams are going to have 90 players in training camp, plus 15 to 20 coaches, and a lot of those coaches are older guys, plus all the other support personnel. Mm-hmm. So it could easily spread to them also if a guy tests positive. So those are the unknowns, and I don't know if you can have a blanket rule in terms of, well, here's what we're going to, how many tests will it take where for what a team can do. And that's one of the reasons they're increasing the practice squad. They're also, for this year, going to have practice squad players able to be veterans and not just the younger guys. So you can keep some veterans around on the practice squad to have available if you get some tests. But this is going to be a moving target all season, and I don't think anybody truly knows how it's going to play out.
Yeah, that is for sure. Howard Balzer joining us, Hall of Fame show on Sirius XM Radio. When can people catch you?
The Hall of Fame show is every Wednesday evening at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday evenings on Sirius XM NFL Radio, Channel 88. Then they rerun it several times over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday there. And also, I've been covering the Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals, for SI.com.
Oh, wow.
Their websites. Been doing that since March remotely, and it's been kind of fun. Covering this team. It's been interesting because I'm not there in Arizona, but I've had the same access as everybody else has who's living there.
Yeah.
There's all these interviews being done on Zoom. So I had some fun doing that, and looking forward to everything getting going, and hope that everybody can stay safe. I think it's going to be really interesting, real quick, when all these teams start reporting with 90 guys and all this, and they give those opening tests. How many positives are we going to have? And that's going to be very intriguing to see what those numbers are.
Unprecedented times, to say the least. Howard, thank you as always. And folks, make sure to follow Howard on Twitter at HBalzer721. We'll talk to you down the road. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Howard.
Sounds good, guys. Take care.
Yeah, those numbers are going to be pretty alarming, I can tell you that. When we come back, Magic Johnson, some positive things to say about the Grizzlies. And I'll have to ask Eli if this could possibly be true from last night in one of those Major League Baseball exhibition games. That's next. This is Middays.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 96.1 FM, or 87.7 FM. We are real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1 FM, and 87.7 FM. As well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, tell Google or Alexa to play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned to real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Have you noticed your air conditioning system struggling to keep up this summer? It may just need a tune-up. Good news, it's super tune-up time at Conway Services. We'll come out and perform our exclusive 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-up on your air conditioning system for only $69 with a free on-leak check. That's right, Conway Services exclusive 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-up for only $69 with a free on-leak check. We'll remove years of dirt, grime, and leaves from your air conditioning system. It's like taking your air conditioner to a car wash, all for only $69. If you have an air conditioner that leaks Freon every year, with Conway Services Super Tune-up, we'll include a free leak check. If that's not enough, we'll treat your unit with a special Teflon coating to help protect against the hot Memphis sun. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. And call this week, and we'll do your super tune-up for only $57.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Start your day at Sunrise Memphis. Located in Midtown, enjoy delicious biscuit sandwiches and all their menu has to offer with quick and easy to-go and delivery options. Whether it's breakfast, brunch, or lunch, don't distance yourself from great food. For more information on Sunrise Memphis, visit sunrise901.com or call 901-552-3144 to place your order. Stay healthy and eat Sunrise Memphis today.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx.
Here once again,
Our Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
let's do it.
Looks like Daniel Snyder is in damage control mode. According to reports, the Washington NFL football team has hired Julie Donaldson to oversee all of its broadcasts, becoming the team's highest-ranked female executive. She'll be a part of Washington's radio team. She won't be doing play-by-play, but she'll be a part of the team. And she replaces former play-by-play announcer Larry Michael, who retired last week amid allegations of sexual harassment. So Snyder doing everything he can. And you weren't here last week when we discussed that, but the allegations that came out from the Washington Post, very, very damaging. But Snyder was not directly alleged to have done anything as far as the sexual harassment, just alleged to be a numbskull, running an organization that allowed this to happen. I don't think that necessarily means the NFL and the powers that be are going to force him to sell, even if they can, or put the pressure on him to sell. I don't know, but I think on the surface that doesn't mean Snyder's going to be out.
No, I don't think he will be out. But what we have seen it's continues to confirm what many believe, in that he is probably the worst owner in all of professional sports.
Worse than Dolan? It's a good battle, right?
Yeah, Dolan, they don't win, obviously, in that market, which is tough to do. You'd think you'd be able to in that New York market, and he has all kinds of issues, there's no doubt. But, I think those would probably be the two two top guys or bottom guys, I guess, however you want to look at it. But they would certainly both be in that running, and I'm not sure who else would be even close in that category with those two guys. By the way, that Texas high school thing, the press release, the reason they're doing that with the 5A and 6A schools, those are the schools in the larger larger cities.
Metropolitan cities.
Yeah. So and those are the cities right now that are having the most issues, obviously, because you got more people packed in there.
Okay.
So that's why they're delaying the starts, because most of those schools, they did say that obviously that this is all a fluid situation, and even in some of those other classifications, you may have some schools that could have some issues with it, but they're urging basically flexibility in scheduling and things like that. But the reason they said that they wanted to hold back the biggest schools was because they are coming from the bigger cities, and they are having the most issues right now with positive cases.
Makes a lot of sense. So last night, the summer camp, whatever you want to call it, exhibition games continue in Major League Baseball. The regular season starts Thursday. Again, it's a 60-game abbreviated season, and we will make our predictions on Thursday here on the program. But they've been having these exhibition games. I said the other day, Eli, to Gabe, that I just think baseball's weird without fans. Like, I've accepted NASCAR, I've accepted PGA, a lot of things. I think the NBA bubble games will be fine. Baseball's just weird, and they had the cutouts of the fans, and just, I don't know about you. It was really strange. But go ahead and comment on that, and then I want to ask you something specific.
I watched a little bit of the Cubs-White Sox game Sunday night. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it is. It's really weird, and I don't know if it's because I knew it's an exhibition game, or how much it was the fact that I knew it's an exhibition game doesn't count. How much was the fact that there's no fans there? But it is just, it's just really weird to not have fans at it. And I don't know what it's going to be like to see the NBA, and to certainly if you get football without fans, but. What I feel like is going to happen once the actual real games start here on Thursday, they're all going to feel like exhibition games without fans there. Like, I'm never going to take it seriously because there's not fans in the stands. So it's always going to feel like this game doesn't matter. And then I have to remind myself, no, actually it does matter.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think the NBA games are going to be fine. I think when we play football, I'm talking about from a TV standpoint, just watching the games, I think that's going to be fine. Baseball is strange. Maybe it'll change, though, when the games start, because you're going to have the ceremonial first pitches thrown out. And for the Washington Nationals, the defending World Series champions, it's going to be Dr. Anthony Fauci throwing out the first pitch. So once you see the ceremonial first pitch, maybe you can differentiate in your head, in your mind, the scrimmage games or exhibition games, if you will, to the regular season. But I just think it is really a weird situation. But yesterday, the Yankees were playing. I don't even know who they were playing. Were they playing the Mets again? But it was at Yankee Stadium. And Mike Ford hit a pinch hit 2-run home run for the Yankees. And they said the estimated the distance of this home run was 680 feet. Is that even possible? 680 feet is what they said. That's not possible, right? No. That had to be a mistake.
There's no way you're hitting a ball 680 feet.
They said it on the graphic and everything. I go, I'm writing this down.
Unless they're using like aluminum bats and whammo balls, maybe, which they might be because they're just making up rules for these exhibition games. Like Aaron Judge hit a home run after 3 were out, so in the inning. So and the Cubs and White Sox just stopped the top half of the first inning because they felt like enough guys had batted.
Wait a minute. He hit a home run after 3 outs?
Yes. They wanted the pitcher to get – they didn't want the pitcher to have to sit and then come back out, but they wanted to get some more pitches out of him. So he faced Aaron Judge after 3 were out, and Aaron Judge hit a home run. And it's funny because Aaron Judge didn't know whether he should run the bases. He didn't know what the heck happened. But it did count as a home run, but it happened after 3 were out in the inning.
It says Mike Ford breaks StatCast with mammoth home run for the Yankees. Ford's homer was measured at 680 feet, which would clearly be the longest home run in Yankee Stadium history. The true distance champion at the current Yankee Stadium is Aaron Judge, who blasted a home run 496 feet. So I'm assuming it was a mistake by StatCast. It had to be, because no human being, I don't think, unless they find another way to juice these players even worse than they did in the 90s, to hit a home run 680 feet. Then again, if Bryson DeChambeau hit a baseball, maybe 680 feet. All right.
Somebody says, well, Major League Baseball, on our First Bank text line, well, Major League Baseball saved money now on baseball since no fans will be able to keep foul balls. Someone could go pick the foul balls up in the stands. I mean, they're not. It's not like they're going to put those balls back in play.
Exactly.
So that's not. Those will be used for batting practice or whatever if they want to, but they're not going to put those. It's not like once that ball's been hit out of play, that ball's not coming back into play.
Based on what I've heard, they're going to spend more on baseballs because of the pandemic. They're going to be switching them out all the time.
That's right. You're going to. They're basic. I mean, they've always thrown out. It seems like anymore a ball basically is used for one hitter and that's about it. But now they are constantly going to be throwing balls out of play.
Yeah, look, a baseball gets a little dirt on it, they throw it out. You believe me, when it hits the stands, smashes into the stands, they're not running up to get the ball and put it back into play. Magic Johnson has come out and has tweeted about the postseason NBA awards, although, again, we're not even close to the postseason yet. It's been a crazy, crazy year in every sport and in all walks of life. But Magic Johnson has spoken. Not that he's the end-all, be-all, and he doesn't have a vote. Who votes on this thing? Is it the coaches that will vote on the postseason awards? You know?
No, I believe for all of the awards, it's all media.
It's media. Okay, but Magic Johnson said, and as I mentioned earlier, they're only taken into consideration for the awards pre-COVID-19 games. So Magic Johnson said the Grizzlies' Ja Morant for Rookie of the Year, not even close. I would agree, Magic. Defensive Player of the Year, Anthony Davis of his Lakers. The Pelicans' Brandon Ingram is the most improved player, a former Laker. And his Coach of the Year, the Grizzlies' Taylor Jenkins. Now, I've read tweets from other people, some that have votes, and they certainly believe Taylor Jenkins is a top 5 candidate, as somebody that will get consideration. I don't know if the name recognition may hurt him. But Taylor Jenkins, when you look at what the Grizzlies were supposed to do, and again, this is not what happens from here on out. They were not even going to be close to a playoff team, according to most people, including myself and I believe you. And we weren't alone by any stretch of the imagination. And yet, look where they are. So Taylor Jenkins absolutely deserves the recognition, and Magic Johnson is giving him the ultimate recognition, saying he should be the NBA Coach of the Year. We have Humdinger's Trivia after the top of the hour timeout, and then we'll have our NFL 3-for-all. Today we'll talk about the Chiefs and the Chargers. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56. That's AM 560, 96.1 FM, and 87.7 FM.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
It's the perfect time for a powerful business refresh during Dell Technologies Cyber Savings Event. It starts now with up to 50% off high-performance Windows 10 business laptops, desktops, and servers, plus top-brand electronics. It's also your chance to streamline IT and simplify PC life cycles with PC as a service. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 10 Pro for business. Call 877-ASK-DELL for a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find the right tech. That's 877-ASK-DELL or visit Dell.com/smallbusinessdeals.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference. Like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's a new commissary in town. In Collierville, Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
Summertime and the living is easy. No more cutting or paying utilities. Literally, you guys, Town Village Audubon Park, nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by the Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 11:03 is the time. Hour number 2 here on Sports 56 Middays. We have our Humdingers trivia coming up here in just a second. Greg, Eli, and Gabe with you on this Tuesday, July 21st, 2020. We're in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Sports 56 Middays delivered each and every day by our Title I presenting sponsor, and that's FedEx. Visit FedEx.com/e-commerce to see how to turn browsers into buyers. Learn how FedEx can help you take your business to the next level. The second hour of the program each and every day is brought to you by the Window Genie. I will give you all the details about the Window Genie and everything they have to offer a little bit later on in the hour. Before we get to the Humdingers trivia, Eli, more good news for the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational as far as the field is concerned. Of course, the bad news is the fans aren't allowed to go watch next week, but Rory McIlroy has committed. Rory was in the battle with Brooks Koepka. Final day, final round last year, and then Brooks just ended up vaulting to the victory while Rory really struggled on Sunday to a 1-over round. But Rory will be back for the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational.
It's time for our Humdingers trivia. It's your opportunity to win a $25 gift certificate to Humdingers over at Poplar and Massey. Delicious, inexpensive, healthy food. Of course, being Tuesday, that means it's Taco Tuesday, and their great fish and chicken tacos are just $2 each all day on Tuesdays. Of course, a lot of other great things on their menu, from the appetizers like the wings or the calamari or their shrimp or crab cakes. You got the grilled fish options, many different types of fish. Got different toppings you can choose from. Just delicious stuff and very, very healthy. Crispy fish and chips. Your chicken options. You got salads. They've got sandwiches. All kinds of great stuff. If you go to humdingersrestaurant.com, you can see the entire menu there and see that it's very inexpensive stuff. And again, so many great healthy options on the menu over at Humdinger's. And you could go check them out again at Poplar and Massey. And you can win a $25 gift certificate if you can be the first to answer today's question correctly. You can answer via text at 67129. First Bank text line 67129. First person to get it the right answer in will get the $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's. Here is today's question. With the Major League Baseball season getting set to open up on Thursday, what team plays their home games at Globe Life Field? What team plays their home games at Globe Life Field? 67129 is the First Bank text line for you to get those answers in. By the way, watching that baseball without fans, when you do watch it, you look at that ballpark and you think, like, seriously, we could fit some fans in here spread out amongst this ballpark. Like, you think, like, why not put a few thousand fans in there? Because you could spread them out very easily. And if they're wearing masks and everything else, like, it seems like that would be very safe to do.
You would think right off the right on the surface that they're spread apart far enough, and as long as they're not converging on one concession stand that's open, you're going to have something open, especially how hot it is in most areas around the country, or they're all leaving at the same time. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, NASCAR has started to do it. They have spread the wealth, but NASCAR, we're talking about huge tracks with a lot of acres that are involved, so people are really spread out. But golf tried it for a little bit and then shut it down. It's something that I think would work. I know there's been talk of some Major League Baseball teams as we progress trying to have some fans. Others have not even pursued that. I believe once the NFL kicks off, we will have 25 to 50% fans in every stadium. I really do believe with the NFL. But I think you're right, Eli. I'm not sure why we don't have that.
I mean, with the upper decks, and like, you just figure, like, okay, you could easily spread. I mean, even if it's 5,000 people, and I don't know how much of a difference that would make in viewing the game. Like, it would still seem like there's nobody there. It would actually be like watching a Marlins game from any other year. But it was just like, certainly 5,000 people could fit in that stadium and be extremely spread out, and it wouldn't be an issue at all.
Yeah, maybe there's some organizations that just don't want to go, even though you would think that's at least some money. It's not a lot, and maybe they just don't want to go through the whole headache and the whole hassle. There's others that have said that they would like to have some fans. So moving forward, we'll see. By the way, what is Toronto doing? Toronto, which we talked about yesterday, Gabe and I, cannot play in Canada. They can't play in their home stadium. They're looking to find a place to play. The season starts Thursday. They begin, I believe, on Friday, but they're in Tampa to play the Rays to open up their first series. They could play in Buffalo, possibly, but that's a AAA ballpark, and what I heard was they've had some issues with lighting. Dunedin is their spring training facility in Florida, and Florida's a hotbed for COVID-19. And then we talked yesterday about the possibility of sharing a stadium with another Major League Baseball team. PNC Park popped up, the Pittsburgh Pirates, but you'd have to make sure that the schedules link up where the Pirates are away and then the Blue Jays can use the stadium or vice versa. So right now they're in a no man's land right now, trying to figure out where the hell they're going. They're nomads, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's they had originally talked about the fact that, like, there was going to be massive penalties for players and stuff, that if they were allowed to play there, the players are going to be subject to huge fines and even jail time if they got out of the bubble. Because Canada's basically like, hey, you Americans with the issues you're having, Stay away. Keep it there. We don't need you coming up here. We don't need your people coming up here visiting our town. So we're not going to let you come play our baseball team here. They'll have to come down to you guys and play somewhere else. But we just we don't need you all coming up into our country.
Yeah, that's their own little Canadian bubble they have up there. Time now.
That's I guess it's working for them much better than what we're doing is working for us.
Well, there's a lot of countries where it's working better than it is for us, unfortunately, here in the United States. Time now for our NFL 3-for-all. Maestro, please, a little music. Today, we're going to take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, and the Los Angeles, formerly the San Diego Chargers. What we do is we're counting down to the start of the NFL season. We do 2 teams on Tuesday and 2 on Thursday. And what we've done is we've put together, each of us, a list who we believe are the most significant players in the history of the respective organizations. We're not talking about coaches or management or anybody else, the ownership. We're talking strictly players. And if you think it should be the 3 best players, that's fine. It could be players that are significant both on and off the field, in the community, what they have done in the community. So that's some of the criteria for our NFL 3-for-all. If you'd like to contribute, you can text in your 3 for the Chiefs and your 3 for the Chargers via the First Bank text line at 67129. Gentlemen, I can tell you this. While there's a lot of worthy players, some more than others with organizations, I had a tough time with both of these organizations getting it from 4 to 3. There was 4 that I just said they have to be in here, but I can only put 3. So let's start with the LA Chargers. And Eli, you go first.
All right. For the Chargers, the Chargers to me were a little weird. I think you have to put LaDainian Tomlinson on the list. Had one of the great seasons in the history of the NFL with 28 rushing touchdowns, which is still as a record, 31 total touchdowns that year, 2006, when he was the MVP of the league. Also still an NFL record. A guy that was extremely popular amongst the fan base, in the community, everything else. I just think that LaDainian Tomlinson has to be on the list. The guy that when I think Chargers, like a lot of ways to me is the face of that franchise and was unbelievable. Unfortunately, took his own life, was Junior Seau. I don't know. For me, like when I think Chargers, he is the face to me of that franchise. Went to 12 straight Pro Bowls when he was there. 8 times first team All-Pro, was a defensive player of the year. Just an unbelievable player. And to me, during that time and really even to now, like I think Chargers, he is the guy that I think of. And then and then the third one, I went Dan Fouts. Because, again, if I go back a little earlier to like my childhood growing up, if I think Chargers, it's automatically Dan Fouts. Led the league in passing 4 times, 6 Pro Bowls, Offensive Player of the Year 1982, the Air Coryell system, all of that. That one of those kind of, I guess, originators of kind of the run and shoot or wherever you want to call those various offenses. But Dan Fouts throwing the ball all over the place. I put him on the list as well. There were a couple of other guys that I considered. But those are the 3 that I settled upon was LT, Seau, and Dan Fouts.
Okay, my 3, LT without a question. He was selected 5th overall in the 2001 draft. He goes out and in his first year rushes for 1,236 yards and 10 touchdowns. And he leads the Chargers all-time rushing touchdowns, total touchdowns, yards from scrimmage. And he ranks in the top 10 of all-time running backs in the history of the NFL in many of those categories. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame. LaDainian Tomlinson, who ended up with the Jets, certainly on my list. And the way you described Junior Seau, absolutely 100%. That's the name I think of when I think of the Chargers. Junior Seau, who was just an absolute monster. He grew up in California, in Oceanside, California, playing for a California team before he ended his career with the Patriots. He had 1,478 tackles, 47 sacks, 15 picks in the course of his Chargers career. He went to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2015, unfortunately taking his own life, as you mentioned. So I think those 2 are no-brainers. Then to me, Bambi Allworth was certainly considered another Hall of Famer.
He was the one I battled the most trying to figure out him or Dan Fouts.
See, it came down to, for me, Dan Fouts or Phillip Rivers. And I know you have something against Phillip Rivers. And Dan Fouts is already a Hall of Famer. And Phillip Rivers, I do believe, will be a Hall of Famer, but it's not a shoo-in. But when it all came down to it, and I know it's not just the stats that we're looking at, but I am looking at the numbers with Phillip Rivers. More completions, more passing yards, more touchdowns. They threw the ball, even though it was Air Coryell, and for that time, they were throwing the ball around more than any other NFL team. It pales in comparison to what they do today throwing the ball. So Rivers is way past Fouts in all those categories, and they've played just about the same amount of games. I think it's a 1-game difference. And also 86 less interceptions than Dan Fouts. He's had good players to play with. Rivers, boy, Fouts had some studs to play with. So I'm going to lean toward Phillip Rivers, even though both did not go to the Super Bowl. All right, Gabe.
I think the interesting thing about the Chargers, you just sort of mentioned it. When you look at these top three, you usually look for a Super Bowl, a championship of some sort, and the Chargers just do not have that. But I'm going to start with Junior Seau, and obviously took his own life. Very, very sad. And I think how he played the game had to do with that. He played so hard. He used to hit just about anybody he saw. Obviously, 6-time All-Pro, Hall of Famer, 4th all-time on the tackles list. Just was one of the best linebackers of all time when you look at the history of the game. LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, I'm going second here. 7th all-time rushing, 2nd all-time rushing TDs. He's in the Hall of Fame. His little flip in the end zone is just so iconic. He meant so much to the teams he was on when he was there. I have to give it to LT. And then my third, I'm surprised one of you didn't go this direction. I went Antonio Gates. Obviously not in the Hall of Fame, but I think it will be headed there soon. 955 receptions as a tight end. That's top 20 all-time between wide receivers and tight ends. 3-time All-Pro. And one of the best tight ends I've ever seen, obviously, sort of in that category of basketball players that moved over to play tight end. So he's sort of got that iconic thing going for him, along with another guy I got to imagine we'll mention with the Chiefs, but I got Antonio Gates as well.
Well, I certainly looked at
He was in that group.
Yeah, I looked at Antonio Gates and Bambi Allworth, as I mentioned. I don't think there was as many possibilities with the Chargers than there is with the Chiefs, but certainly it was tough to get down to 3 for me.
The championships, when we've done this, since we started this, like the championships is where I look first. Who won them a championship? How did they win that championship, and how many did they win? And with the Chargers, you just don't have that.
No, I completely understand.
There's no doubt. John, who is a Chargers fan, text in, First Bank text line, says Dan Fouts, Kellen Winslow, and Antonio Gates. So it goes with 2 tight ends.
Well, again, Kellen Winslow, certainly. But, I mean, it's hard to argue what Junior Seau, and again, this is not just the 3 best players, it's the 3 most significant players. And I think the impact of Junior Seau, because you're right, Eli, when you think Chargers, you think Seau. I could easily see Fouts, I could easily see Gates, I could easily see Winslow. Again, Lance Allworth going back in time, but Tomlinson and the numbers he put up, the career he had. And again, I go Phillip Rivers, but I easily can be talked out of Phillip Rivers. Okay.
Somebody says Lance Allworth was the first great Charger player, first AFL player voted to the Hall of Fame, I believe. That is true. I came really close to putting Lance Allworth on there, and I could certainly see putting him on there. There's no doubt. I went back and forth between him and Fouts. Somebody else says Dan Fouts, John Jefferson, and Manti Te'o or his girlfriend.
I thought about his girlfriend, considered her.
Raider Corey has Dan Fouts, Kellen Winslow, LaDainian Tomlinson. So he leaves Junior Seau off as well.
Okay. Let's do the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'll start off with the Chiefs. And I thought for the Chiefs there were 4 that should be on the list. Unfortunately, there's only 3 spots. And then there's others like that I considered Willie Lanier and Bobby Bell and Will Shields and a bunch of guys that certainly I gave consideration. Let me start with the late, great Derek Thomas, 4th overall pick in 1989. He had more than 100 sacks, which not a lot of defensive players have done that in their entire careers. He's still the Chiefs' leader in sacks and safeties, forced fumbles, recoveries, a member of the Hall of Fame. Derek Thomas, I give him the edge over the Willie Laniers, the Bobby Bells, some of those great defensive players that they've had in the past. Number 2 is Tony Gonzalez. My gosh, he's the all-time leader in receiving yards by a tight end. He leads the Chiefs all-time in receptions, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, yards from scrimmage. One of the greats. Tony Gonzalez, another Hall of Famer. And so now it comes down to, for me, to a Hall of Fame quarterback who won a Super Bowl and a guy who was on the direction, the trajectory to one day be a Hall of Famer, and he's already won a Super Bowl. The impact of Len Dawson for the all-time franchise is very significant. The impact right now moving forward of the great Patrick Mahomes is incredible. He's got the largest contract in NFL history. Guys, I am absolutely torn, and I think I got to lean only because Dawson's career is complete and it is in the Hall of Fame, Len Dawson. But I'm telling you, Patrick Mahomes should be on. I'm not kicking off Thomas or Gonzalez. So that's my thoughts on that, Gabe. I know you're going to have Mahomes.
Okay, I'm going to start. Don't spoil it. I'm going to start with Len Dawson. I kept Len Dawson on here. Super Bowl, Hall of Fame, 2-time All-Pro. And I think my favorite thing about Len Dawson is that iconic picture of him smoking a cigarette at halftime, leaning over, big number 16. That's iconic to me. I went Len Dawson. I had to keep him on the list. I actually did not have a single defensive player. Derek Thomas I really wanted to put on, but I did not. Tony Gonzalez is my second. 5-time first-team All-Pro. A ridiculously long career. I think it was 17 years. It was a long career.
Yeah.
And not to mention a long career that he was good from start to finish. I think his last year with the Falcons, he still caught for 860 yards with about 80 receptions. So, I mean, just an incredible career. Hall of Famer, obviously, and third all-time in receptions. Third all-time, and that's between tight ends and wide receivers. That's incredible to do from the tight end position. And like I mentioned, just a long, stable career. And then my third. I'm sorry, Greg. I don't care if his career is literally 2 years in. You have to put Patrick Mahomes on here. In 2 years, he has a Super Bowl and he has an MVP, and now he has what we have seen as the biggest contract ever, $500 million. I mean, I don't know. I think as of right now, he might be more iconic than Len Dawson in a Chiefs uniform.
You make a great point, and I'm not going to argue that point. Like I said, I'm torn. Eli?
Well, I got a combination of both of you, I guess. I've got Len Dawson, 3 AFL championships, Super Bowl title, led the league in touchdown 4 times, Super Bowl MVP in their Super Bowl win. Derek Thomas, I can't leave Derek Thomas off. He has the NFL record still for 7 sacks in a game. Their team MVP award is named after him. And he did amazing stuff in the community. He was the Walter Payton Man of the Year. The charity stuff that he did off the field was unbelievable, what he did for kids and literacy and stuff in the Kansas City area. So certainly I have Derek Thomas on the list. And then I leave Gonzalez off, and I'm with Gabe. Patrick Mahomes is right now one of the superstars of the league, and what he's accomplished in 2 years as a starter with an MVP award and a Super Bowl title, and now that big contract. To me, just by doing that contract alone, the influence that will have around the rest of the league going forward, I don't think you can leave Patrick Mahomes off the list.
I'm telling you, I went into the show today still like, what do I do? What do I do? But it was hard for me, like you said with Derek Thomas, to keep him off. He was an incredible defensive player. What he did in the community, as you said, NFL Man of the Year in 04, whatever it was. And then Gonzalez is the all-time leader in receptions for tight ends, and you said 3 overall in receiving yards?
In receptions.
In receptions. So he's 3rd overall, and that includes receivers. But he's number 1 as a tight end. How do I leave him off? And then, of course, iconic Len Dawson. But Mahomes, the only reason I left him off is because I couldn't have 4, and that it's only been 2 years for him. That's like me putting the Greek Freak as one of my top 3 current players. I can certainly do that. I mean, but if I'm going like what they've accomplished so far in their careers, I couldn't put him in the top 3. So that's where I had an issue with that one. But really, no issues with your guys' pick of Patrick Mahomes. All right.
The Raider Corey has Derek Thomas, Tony Gonzalez, Len Dawson. Another text here has Dawson, Derek Thomas, Mahomes, same as my list. Somebody says, how many years was Gonzalez with the Chiefs versus the Falcons? He was 12 years Chiefs, 5 years Falcons, more than twice as many years with the Chiefs.
I still find it ridiculous. 17 years into his career as a tight end, he was catching for 800 yards. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous.
My thing with Gonzalez, I mean, certainly I have no problem putting Gonzalez on the list, but the reason you would put Mahomes ahead of him is again, the Super Bowl title. I mean, he has put the Chiefs back at the top of the league after the 50 years that they were not there.
I can't
Gonzalez
argue, guys.
Great,
I'm not going to try to
that.
argue it with you guys because I'm telling you, Mahomes certainly deserves a spot in just 2 years in the NFL. Okay, Thursday, the Cardinals, of course, they started in St. Louis, now in Arizona, and the Rams, which were also in St. Louis. and now they're in L.A. So we got two NFL teams that once played in St. Louis as our picks for our NFL 3-for-all on Thursday.
Can we do the Battlehawks as well?
The Battlehawks are not included in this.
All right, we the Humdingers trivia question. The people they came fast and furious. I knew this would be an easy one today. I set this one up on a tee for you to use the if you talk a little tee-ball here, made it very easy on you. The team that will be playing their home games at Globe Life Field, that is the brand new ballpark of the Texas Rangers. Mm-hmm. They'll actually play the first game ever there today or tonight, as they'll have an exhibition game. They'll play their first regular season game there on Friday at the Globe Life Field. So, Gabe, you're going to be the tiebreaker today, and you got a lot more to choose from. There were 6 right answers that came in with the same timestamp.
Same timestamp? Wow.
Because we don't break this down by seconds. This is just by minute. So, Gabe, give me 1 through 6.
4.
4. All right. Sorry to the other folks. You can blame Gabe. We will contact the winner and let you know how you are going to get your prize.
We talked about, it was with the Blue Jays, if there was any stadiums, MLB ballparks that were not in use that are still there.
And somebody texted in about Texas, right?
Yeah, I think the Rangers' old one's still there. I don't know if they're going to demolish it or what have you.
No. It's renovated for soccer because I saw the stadium. I was there for the Cotton Bowl, so we went over and there was a party right outside of it. So I saw the new stadium and the old stadium's right across the street, and it's been retrofitted, I guess, for soccer. So again, I don't think that's going to be the option for Toronto, but that was what we were talking about yesterday. If there are any former Major League Baseball stadiums that still are in existence, even though they're not used and haven't been demolished. I brought up the Astrodome, of course, which...
Unfortunately, no Major League Baseball teams played in Memphis. Otherwise, that stadium would still be standing here because we don't knock things down.
That is true. Window Genie is the second-hour sponsor of Sports 56 Middays, a trusted name in window cleaning, but they do so much more. Look, locally owned and operated. The franchise here in Memphis, northern Mississippi, your go-to is Kate Robertson. Kate is absolutely terrific, a lifelong Memphis area resident. She has a team of professionals that can take care of you. They take care of your home or business as well. They clean interior and exterior windows with their streak-free guarantee. They can clean gutters. They do pressure washing and house washing. Again, they did some pressure washing at my house on my patio, and it is spectacular. Pressure washing can really make your home shine. They clean and seal concrete, brick, and natural stone. They also do window tinting on your home. They are insured and bonded, a member of the Better Business Bureau, uniformed professional workers, wrapped vehicles. They are COVID-19 conscious, so when they come to your house, masks at the door they're wearing, shoe covers if they enter your home. You can call them 7 days a week to schedule an appointment. You can get a free estimate as well. So call Kate. Tell her you heard it here on Sports 56 and ask for the Sports 56 discount, which is 15% off either the window treatment or the pressure washing. 901-424-4100. 901-424-4100. Online at windowgenie.com. Second hour sponsor of Sports 56 Middays. Let the power of the Genie work for you. Steve Macy from the University of Memphis is next. This is Middays.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
Great news, sports fans. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse is now open for dine-in service. Make a reservation and enjoy a mouth-watering steak dinner. Or, if you prefer, take it curbside. In addition to their fantastic steaks, the Butcher Shop Steakhouse has a variety of entrees, including Canadian lobster tail, crab stuffed shrimp, pan-seared red snapper, and fresh ground steak burger with portobello mushroom sauce. Planning to cook out? The Butcher Shop Steakhouse offers a great selection of fresh Angus beef, hand-cut steaks and burgers, lamb chops, Atlantic salmon, and more. Make your reservation for dine-in or pre-order for curbside pickup. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse. Dine in, curbside, and delivery. Plus, enjoy the sizzle of top-quality Butcher Shop steaks on your own grill. Call us at 757-4244 and visit our website, thebutchershop.com, for menus and more. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse, Walnut Grove and Germantown Parkway.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage. Factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you are treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
It's the perfect time for a powerful business refresh during Dell Technologies Cyber Savings Event. It starts now with up to 50% off high-performance Windows 10 business laptops, desktops, and servers, plus top-brand electronics. It's also your chance to streamline IT and simplify PC life cycles with PC as a service. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 10 Pro for business. Call 877-ASK-DELL for a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find the right tech. That's 877-ASK-DELL or visit Dell.com/smallbusinessdeals.
First Bank is here to help you, whether you're a business looking for a loan to expand or refinance an existing one, a homeowner looking for a mortgage or home equity line, a consumer wanting to finance your dream car, or wanting a competitive rate on your CD deposits. Let First Bank try to handle your banking needs. Stop into one of First Bank's 3 local branches today. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or check them out online at firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the Little Red Tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farmall that's right for you.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by the Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Our 5 favorite songs. Topic today is Cry or Crying. We'll get to that at 12:05, so make sure you get your lists in on the First Bank text line at 67129, or if you're watching us live, you can message us with your lists at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. Also, with the commitment of Rory McIlroy, the top 8 golfers currently in the world golf rankings in the world are committed to Memphis. Jon Rahm, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, Dustin Johnson, Webb Simpson, Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, and Patrick Reed. Field will be great next week. Unfortunately, we'll be watching it on television. Without further ado, he's a Tuesday regular. It's always great to talk some University of Memphis Tigers athletics. He's the Senior Associate AD at the U of M. He is Steve Macy, who you can follow on Twitter at Steve Macy, and he joins us now. How are you, sir?
I'm a little disappointed. I did not get my invite to play in the golf tournament this weekend, and the PGA Tours once again, just passed right over me and not giving me that exemption that I was seeking. So I'm a little disappointed, but I'll be all right.
Well, you're number 62 in the world rankings. Then you take what, Eli, the top 50. So Steve just missed out.
It was really close.
I'm not even number 62 in the rankings in the athletic department, let alone the world.
In all seriousness, though, I played with you. You're a good golfer. Eli's a good golfer. I'm as average or below average as you can get. But I watch a guy like DeChambeau, and I'm just amazed. As you watch a guy like that, Steve, and we've always been told, hit the ball, nice, easy swing. It'll go far. Don't worry about how big you are, strong you are. And they get DeChambeau just hitting the weights, becoming like a different guy, and clocking the ball 380, like nearing 400 on drives. It's nuts.
Yeah, he's a large human being. And, I think if you watch any of those long drive championships on TV, you'll see those are all large human beings, too. There's not many 5'8" guys out there hammering it away. They're all 6'4", 6'5". They lift a lot of weights. They get really strong. I mean, look, there's a reason baseball players lift weights and football players and basketball. Being stronger helps you do physical things. I think it just is what it is. It doesn't surprise me.
And much like baseball players, there are people out there who believe that Bryson DeChambeau may have used some artificial enhancements.
Really?
Oh, yes.
So aren't they testing in PGA?
Yes.
All right, so keep an eye on that as a possible future story. So, Steve, we had Ryan Silverfield on last week. I know Friday begins camp. They had the extended 6 weeks because of everything that's going on with COVID-19. So the players ready to hit the field, at least doing walkthroughs for the first couple of weeks. But the time is closing in on what's going to happen for the season. Yet we still don't have a definitive answer on the schedule from the American perspective, or really with a lot of different conferences around the country. We're still kind of in a wait-and-see period, but I'm sure time is winding down where decisions need to be made.
I think we're getting there, but at the same time, we're going to try to play this out as long as we can play it out and ensure that we give ourselves every possible chance to play as many games as humanly possible. And that's ultimately the goal and has been. I know there have been people that love to sit back and attack and do those types of things, say, what are you doing? You should have known. You should have canceled it, all these things. But there are a lot of circumstances under which this is in the best interest of our student athletes, our programs, and our community to run this out as far as we can, as long as we can, and see if we can get this in. And I think that as things play out and as conferences make different decisions that try to mitigate the medical exposure, the medical concerns, those will have an impact on schedules. And at this point in time, the schedules are the schedules are going to be what they are, and we'll all adjust, and it won't be a big deal. We're just like this year, we're not printing posters because it seemed silly to print a poster if we were going to have to change schedules, and so we're doing everything digital. So I think to me that's kind of the hardest thing when you look at whether it's booking hotels or booking flights. Those things you typically do well in advance. And now in this case, there might be some opportunities or the situations where you're just not going to do them well in advance. You're going to do it on a little shorter leash and put a little more strain on your staff to make sure they've got all those details set up. But ultimately, everybody's goal here is to have a football season if at all possible.
Steve, as far as fans are concerned, because of the fact that you're not doing, individual game tickets, like how much ahead of time do you need to know, like what your number of fans is that you can fit in the stadium to plan properly?
Right, Eli. That's a huge key, and that's something we're working through right now with the county health department, the state health department, the Liberty Bowl, and the city, just trying to find what is that everybody can agree to that we can do. And once we have that definitive answer, then that'll impact everything we're doing, from season ticket holders to how many people we can put into the stadium, how far distance do they have to be. I think if you look at what came out of the 901 FC, we're looking at those as potential things that we're going to have to abide by. And we've also got our own ideas and concepts we're putting forward. So there's going to be some decisions coming soon. I think by the end of the month, we will have a clear direction on what our plan is from a fan perspective.
It doesn't necessarily affect you directly, but I think it was a bit of good news when we heard recently that starting this Saturday, the Memphis 901 FC at AutoZone Park will have some fans in their stands. It's a smaller stadium, obviously, than Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium, so a lot less people, but they're going to have 1,000. It's baby steps, but I think that's certainly positive news from the Shelby County Health Department to allow fans to be at the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's it's something that we're all working towards. Is there are a lot of people in this town that are very passionate about Tiger football, and we're very fortunate to have that. And as part of that passion, they want to be part of the game day and be in the stands. And And so we're obviously trying to do everything we can to make it a safe environment as humanly possible for our fans, and to allow as many that want to be there as possible. And so that's what everybody's goal is, and that's what we're working towards, and we'll continue that. That's just going to be the path that we stay on until such time that path is either unattainable or it's taken away from us. We're going to continue to work on that problem that way. And look, it changes all the time. It's been changing. The way we're talking about games and how the fans can interact is constantly changing. I think if you look at the golf tournament coming up this weekend, when the plan was all along to have some fans, and ultimately they had to make a decision that was contrary to that. And I hope we don't have to face that, but that's how quickly things are changing.
Again, it's constantly changing. Right now, would you expect that whatever fans you do have in the stands, that masks will be required?
I don't know. I think that's not an unreasonable thing to think. I think as we're looking at what the 901 FC is doing, I think that's what we're kind of looking at as the basis for what we're facing. And I think the masks are probably going to be part of that. Right now, it's the city ordinance as well. It's it's something that's being required. So I don't see how a football game would be any different. But we'll see. I think that'll be more of the conversations that we have, and we'll get ultimate direction here over the next 6 weeks. I mean, we've got some time before we would have to have a definitive answer on exactly what the requirements are going to be. The fans, there's a lot of different things you can try to do to mitigate spread, and we're going to try to do as much as we can to make everyone there feel as safe and to be as safe as possible.
I understand, of course, from an athletics situation, football and fall sports that are starting up in September or were scheduled to start in late August are the first priority. But soon after, basketball is right around the corner. In fact, yesterday was the first time that coaches could actually get on the court with players in a limited group and certainly limited hours. But we're getting closer. The Musa Cisse news was certainly great for the University of Memphis. But what we did hear, Steve, in the last 10 days, a number of conferences deciding that they are not going to play until at least January 1st. As far as basketball, a lot of them have not yet made their ultimate decisions. And I don't have the schedule in front of me and how that affects you. But what happens when there are 2, 3, 4, 5 games that all of a sudden scheduled for before conference play, which would be November, December, can't be played because those schools aren't playing basketball until January 1st or thereafter? What happens there? Is it a scurry to try to replace those teams? What happens with that?
I think it would be. I mean, it's kind of hard to walk through all of the different options here. It's almost back to our I don't know Leonard conversation, but
right.
The decisions that are made in terms of what we're allowed to do from a game standpoint and a fan standpoint, and following our conference and what they do will kind of dictate what would happen in those scenarios if there was someone that couldn't fill their obligation to play. What would we be faced with? Are there going to be additional conference games? Would there be additional non-conference games you could replace them with? Or are there some neutral sites that are, similar to what the NBA is doing? There's some neutral sites that can have a multiple game scenario and set up over a certain amount of time. I think there's a lot of different options, and I think in everybody's situation is going to be a little bit different. And look, I think some of the things you're seeing is that the conferences that have a little more of the financial ability to keep their student athletes, staffs, and coaches safer are the ones that are in a better position to play more events. And I think that's, just the cost of testing and the cost of the daily efforts that are being made to keep facilities clean, to keep players safe, to provide them a safe environment. Just the simple act of providing masks and hand sanitizer at every turn, cleaning all of the equipment on a consistent basis and after every workout group. Those things cost money. And the more you're kind of cash strapped, and it's not that we're flush with it, because we certainly aren't, but we do have some of the means to be able to provide those things for our student athletes and our coaches and our staffs, that a conference that doesn't have a great fan base and a pretty good TV contract really are struggling to provide that. And I think that's pushing some of their decisions and saying, hey, we're gonna look at going later in the year than right now.
While the players get set to hit the field and start camp, we get set to hear probably by the end of the month, as Steve said, maybe some final news on what will happen via the American Conference from Commissioner Mike Oresco and other conferences around the country as we are getting close to college football season. Steve, as always, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Make sure to follow Steve on Twitter at Steve Macy. Stay well, Steve.
See you guys. Thank you. Be safe.
Take care. When we come back, go ahead, Eli. You're going to say something?
Well, you said we're getting closer to college football season. Hopefully, we're getting close to college football season.
Right. I think there's going to be a season. I just don't know in what form, what shape or form we will. Now, Brett Norsworthy, I think you know him, right?
I've heard of him.
He joined me last week when you were off, and he did not paint a rosy picture. He does not think there's going to be football at all. At all. I disagree. I think we will have a college football season, but it may just be conference only. It may be delayed. I just think we're going to play.
I think there's definitely going to be college football played at some point. Whether it starts on time, I think remains to be seen. Certainly, I think by the time all is said and done, it will be conference games only amongst all of these conferences. I don't think we'll see many. I know the ACC, the plan they're looking at is 10 conference games and even doing it as regionally as possible within the conference. Mm-hmm. Dropping some of the longer road trips if you can get closer games or whatever. And that would include Notre Dame as a full conference member playing 10 games. So they would bring in Notre Dame basically as a full conference member for the season and play 10 conference games. And they're even looking at starting in week 0 and pushing their championship game back a couple of weeks in order to create as many weeks in there as possible to get those games in when there needs to be postponements.
When we come back, I want to get your thoughts on a suggestion from a friend of the show, Tony Barnhart, what he thinks should happen for the SEC. Also, the ESPN basketball analysts have voted who they believe should win those postseason awards. Again, it's going to be only pre-COVID-19 games and nothing now that's happening with the resumption of the NBA season. We'll get you their take on John Morant and Taylor Jenkins when we come back. Then at 12:05, our 5 favorite songs. We got 2.5 questions at 12:30. Still a lot to go here on Middays, right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hertz. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
It's the perfect time for a powerful business refresh during Dell Technologies Cyber Savings Event. It starts now with up to 50% off high-performance Windows 10 business laptops, desktops, and servers, plus top brand electronics. It's also your chance to streamline IT and simplify PC life cycles with PC as a service. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 10 Pro for business. Call 877-ASK-DELL for a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find the right tech. That's 877-ASK-DELL or visit Dell.com/smallbusinessdeals.
Like me, my opponents are Republicans, but there's a big difference. Tennessee is my first concern, not special interest, not Washington, and I'm not blindly following anyone. I'll support President Trump's conservative policies, but I'm not a yes man. I'll only be loyal to you. My focus is pushing for conservative Tennessee values. I'm George Flynn, candidate for U.S. Senate. I approve this message and ask for your vote to put real solutions into action for you.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference. Like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by the Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
So ESPN polled 20 of their NBA writers / hosts / reporters and asked them to vote on the NBA postseason awards. There was 20 of them. All 20 voted for John Morant. John Morant has a chance to win the award unanimously. He deserves to win it unanimously. I think when it's all said and done, somebody will vote for Zion. What do you think? You think he can win it?
I think he will be unanimous vote. I don't see how you could possibly vote for anybody else.
Yeah, but every time there's always controversy with voting. There always seems to be. Hank Aaron, he doesn't deserve first ballot Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. The coach of the year, even though Magic Johnson said it should be Taylor Jenkins of the Grizzlies, Taylor Jenkins did not get one vote from these 20 analysts. They went with Nick Nurse. He got 15 votes. Mike Budenholzer 2, Frank Vogel 2, and Billy Donovan 1.
To me, I would say Nick Nurse deserves that award.
What a job he's done, huh?
I mean, you lose Kawhi and still put them in the position they're in. I think he's been amazing.
Yet the other way to look at it is they were more than just Kawhi. Kawhi took them over the top to win the NBA title. I don't think they're going to win the NBA title this year, and they still got a lot of talent. The emergence of Pascal Siakam and Kyle Lowry, of course, is the annual All-Star anymore, and you have Marc Gasol and others. So I certainly think Serge Ibaka, but I think Nick Nurse has done a great job. All right, so yesterday we brought up Tony Barnhart's suggestion that the SEC play an 8+1 model, play 8 conference games, and then have one non-conference game from their schedule of 4 and play that one. So play 9 total games. Thoughts?
Well, who's the non-conference games against?
It's going to be the traditional rivalry games against Power 5 conferences. So you're going to if you're Georgia, you're going to play Georgia Tech. That's assuming again that the ACC allows non-conference games and they'd be willing to do that.
They're not going to in all likelihood. So that's the thing. You're going to be. I mean, to me, it should be similar to what I said. Like the ACC, just played like 10 conference games and do it. Just add some more cross division games. Try and make them as the closer opponents if you can, as much as you possibly can. And go that way. I mean, I think in the end, that's where we're going to end up anyway. I just don't see how you're going to do non-conference games. Because what about those teams that don't have necessarily that opponent from those conferences? Who are they playing?
Well, I could tell you this right now. Pete Medhurst joined me yesterday, and he said they're playing the Army-Navy game. And that's not a conference game for Navy. So there's going to be exceptions to the rules. And remember, it's not a uniform decision. It's conference by conference. So if you're the Big 12, you only have 10 teams. So you play 9 conference games as it is. If you play 9 in the Big 12 and you play 10 in the SEC or 10 in the Big 10, then what happens? When you have a team maybe that runs the table and goes 10-0 or 9-0 rather, and another one that goes 9-1. So, and the 9 are like more quality wins from the SEC. How are you going to judge when you get down to the committee voting on who and debating on who should be in the playoff? But
that's the problem that the committee faces. But Bill Hancock said that they're not planning on changing anything. So,
I love Bill, friend of the show, but man, they're going to change. They're going to end up altering and throwing different criteria in there when this is all said and done, in my opinion. One other note from the NBA, Marvin Bagley had an MRI done on his right foot after injuring it during a team practice on Sunday. The Kings, one of the teams in the bubble that has a lot of talent and could be a spoiler, could be a team that on a great run can get into maybe an 8-9 game in that little 2-game playoff. So you lose Bagley for any length of time, that's certainly going to be costly to the Sacramento Kings. Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration for all your roofing and home repair needs. It's a simple call to Brandon McCullough, and he will take care of your roof. 901-438-5084 or online at newroofmemphis.com. They offer financing, many different plans and options to choose from. A 6, 12, and 18-month same-as-cash option. They'll work within your budget, whatever it takes. They'll work with your insurance company. They'll work out of pocket. They will make it work for you financially. Pinnacle is part of the Roofs for Troops program, so any veteran, active or retired, you get a $250 rebate on the purchase of a new roof. Residential and commercial roofs, so business owners and property managers, along with house owners. If you have a leak, any other problem with your roof, call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection. They're licensed, bonded, and insured, and a member of the Better Business Bureau. You get a 5-year labor warranty on the purchase of a new roof. That's 5 years, and satisfaction with all their work is guaranteed. They do carpentry work, exterior painting. They can replace gutters, install shingles, put up fencing and siding, rotten wood repair. Your one-stop shop for all your home repair needs, quality work at a very good price. They've been with us for years. Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. Just call Brandon. If you missed the number, can't write it down because you're driving, just call the station. We'll get you his number, the number to any of our sponsors that you hear throughout the day. 901-438-5084. Ask for Brandon. Tell him you heard it here on Sports 56 Middays, or go online to newroofmemphis.com. Coming up, hour number 3. 5 favorite songs. Today's topic is cry or crying. If you haven't gotten your lists in, what are you waiting for? Text it in on the First Bank text line to 67129. Or if you're watching us live, you can message us with the lists at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. It is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar, your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick.
It's July, and you know what that means, Memphis. It's time for our anniversary tent sale going on now at Sunrise. And just in time, too, because GM just announced employee pricing for everyone on almost all new Buicks and GMCs. Rebates as big as $7,000. Discounts up to $10,000. Over 500 used cars and trucks in stock with a great selection of late-model GM-certified vehicles. And we specialize in cars under $10,000. Bad credit, slow pay, bankruptcy, it's okay at Sunrise. No clowns, no gimmicks here, just big savings. Look for the huge tent on Highway 64 in Bartlett, across from the Wolf Chase Mall. Call, click, or come in. We make it fun to buy a car.
It's the perfect time for a powerful business refresh during Dell Technologies Cyber Savings Event. It starts now with up to 50% off high-performance Windows 10 business laptops, desktops, and servers, plus top brand electronics. It's also your chance to streamline IT and simplify PC life cycles with PC as a service. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 10 Pro for business. Call 877-ASK-DELL for a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find the right tech. That's 877-ASK-DELL or visit Dell.com/smallbusinessdeals.
Commitment, dedication, perseverance. At FedEx, our people are our strength. Even during these unprecedented times, we are delivering medical supplies, test kits, and the things you need every day. Helping the world move forward together. Strength, what we deliver by delivering. FedEx.
If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commission, sales leads, and a great place to work. If you can sell, let us know today. Send your resume to jobs@flynn.com. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flynn.com. Start your great career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you. DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test-driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Pour me something tall and strong, make it a hurricane.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour number 3 here on Sports 56 Middays, the Tuesday, July 21st, 2020 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Gabe Kuhn. We're in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Save now on your 2021 swimming pool. You can buy now 2020 pricing and save your spot for first installation of 2021. Sports 56 Middays delivered each and every day by our title and presenting sponsor, and that's the great folks at FedEx. FedEx can help provide global access for your business. Learn more at FedEx.com/e-commerce. And the third hour of the program is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware, 5143 Quince Road, right next door to Billy Hardwick's All-Star Lanes. You can call them at 901-683-8688. Go online to acehardware.com. Free shipping, by the way. Convenience, service, knowledge, and price at East Memphis Ace Hardware, open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 7, Sunday, 10 to 4, third hour sponsor here on Sports 56 Middays. Time now for our 5 favorite songs. We do it each and every day. We give you a topic, and then you need to come up with your 5 fave. We do as well. And we talk about it. And we listen to some of the songs. It's a fun segment. Today we're talking cry or crying. So even though it's a fun segment, today we're talking about crying. Cry or crying needs to be in the title of your song. If you have yet to text us your list, please do to 67129. That's the First Bank text line. Or again, if you're watching us live, you can message us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. Gabe, you got the honors today.
Lead off. Let's do it. And so I wanted to do an honorable mention, but I had to stop lying to myself. So my number 5 song, Big Girls Don't Cry, the Fergie version. Okay, if you've never heard the Fergie version, I'm going to have to play that going to the break.
Fergie version.
I went Fergie version. Big Girls Don't Cry. 4, I went I'd Cry, Stevie Wonder. 3, Don't Cry, Lil Wayne. 2, No Woman, No Cry, Bob Marley. And number 1 should be on every list.
Animals strike curious poses. They feel the heat between me and you. Just leave me standing alone in a world that's so cold.
When Doves Cry, Prince.
Terrific song. Good list.
Great song.
Good list. You like Fergie? You like the Big Girls Don't Cry, Fergie?
Fergie,
you went with two. You had two song titles in there that you went the different version that I would have went.
Well, I'll give you. I'll be honest. I considered Fergie. I did consider her. She did not make my list, but I thought that was a good song. There was one though I never heard of. Who was your number 2?
No Woman, No Cry, Bob Marley.
No,
Sure
not
you've
that.
heard
No,
of
not,
it.
no, not that
I
one.
thought that
Who
would be. I thought for
Don't
sure.
Cry, Lil Wayne.
Yeah, I haven't heard "Don't Cry" by Lil Wayne. Is that an original or is that?
That's an original.
Okay.
That's an original.
All right. I'll give you my list now.
It's not a Lil Wayne did not cover a Don't Cry song.
I thought.
Who knows?
I thought that for sure Bob Marley would be number 1 for you, Gabe.
He made 2.
Yeah,
he was at 2. I had everything from Fergie to Lil Wayne to Bob Marley to Prince. I was all over the place.
I thought this ended up being a pretty tough little category. There was a couple that, like the Fergie version of Big Girls Don't Cry. I thought about it. I liked the Justin Timberlake song as well, Cry Me a River, but they did not make my list. Number 5, Let Her Cry by Hootie and the Blowfish. Number 4, When Doves Cry by Prince. Number 3, now I'm going old school Korn back here for this one from my youth. Don't Cry Out Loud by Melissa Manchester. Number 2, Big Girls Don't Cry by the Four Seasons. And here's my number 1. It is Don't Cry by Asia. That's my number 1.
Asia.
Asia.
Okay.
Not a big Asia fan.
Fine with the continent. Asia has a doesn't what
They have a few good songs, really good songs.
There's an Asia song that I like. I don't know what it is, but there is an Asia song that I like. I'm pretty sure. What's some of their big hits?
Asia. One has to do with time. Hang on, I'll look.
I'm pretty sure there's an Asia song that I like. I don't know what it is. I just feel like there's a song that comes on that's I was like,
Heat of the Moment. Heat of the Moment. You know the heat of the moment. Da-da-da-da. Wildest Dreams.
Maybe it's Heat of the Moment. Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
The Smiles Left Your Eyes. Pretty good songs, but Don't Cry. I certainly enjoy that one. All right, what's your list?
All right. Number 5 on my list goes way back to country music standard. It's been redone by many, so you could take certainly the Johnny Cash version of it. But I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry by Hank Williams. Number 4, Let Her Cry, Hootie and the Blowfish. Number 3, Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, Willie Nelson. I'll skip number 2 for a second. My number 1 song, the same as Gabe's, When Doves Cry, of course, by the great Prince. My number 2 song has the same title as your number 1 song, but it's by a different artist. Wait, that is not.
Let me stop messing with him. Okay, let's get to your good one.
That's not it.
Talk to me softly. There's something in your eyes. Don't hang your head in sorrow, and please don't cry. I know how you feel inside. I've been there before. Something's changed. inside you. And don't you know? Don't you cry tonight. I still love you, baby. Don't you cry tonight. Don't you cry tonight. There's heaven above you, baby. And don't you cry tonight.
Is this Tori Amos? Who is
Guns
this?
N' Roses.
That's Guns N' Roses? That's Axl Rose singing? I thought it was a chick.
It's Don't Cry. We all had a Don't Cry
Isn't that funny?
by 3 different artists.
Wow, that's Guns N' Roses. The softer side of Axl. How about that? By the way, when you get to Raider Corey, defer to me. He has already amended his list.
All right.
That he posted. So when you get to him, let me know and I'll read his.
All right. Well, we could start there with Raider Corey's top 5.
Somehow, he said, I was busy working, putting the list together, and I completely forgot When Doves Cry. So he had to adjust because that is his number 1. So his number 5 is I Cry, Chris Stapleton. Number 4, Big Girls Don't Cry, Fergie version. Number 3, Cry Me a River, which I thought about, Justin Timberlake. 2, No Woman, No Cry, Bob Marley and the Wailers. Gabe had that. And his number 1, yes, When Doves Cry. He said, Prince, I disrespected Prince, Eli. Sorry.
You cannot disrespect Prince. That's yeah. You cannot leave that off the list if you're a Prince fan, and I know Raider Corey is.
And it was not purposely done. So, all you Prince fans out there, settle down. It's a mistake.
Zed comes with number 5, I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. He goes Johnny Cash. Again, that's a very much acceptable version of that song.
I thought about that one.
Number 4, Cowgirls Don't Cry, Brooks and Dunn. Number 3, Cry Me a River, Justin Timberlake. Number 2, Let Her Cry, Hootie the Blowfish. And number 1, When Doves Cry. Ray and Cordova, number 5, Big Girls Don't Cry, The Four Seasons. Number 4, Cry Me a River, Justin Timberlake. 3, Crying by Roy Orbison. Number 2, Who's Crying Now, Journey. And number 1, Jamie's Crying, Van Halen.
Wow, Jamie's Crying. I completely forgot about that song.
That one I came really close to having on my list. That would probably have been number 6 for me.
Would it have made my list? I'm not sure, but I didn't even have that in consideration, and I should have. I overlooked that one.
Let's see here. This next list from Jason. Number 5, Don't Cry, Guns N' Roses. Number 4, The Wind Cries Mary, Jimi Hendrix. Number 3, It Takes a Lot to Laugh, It Takes a Train to Cry, Jerry Garcia Band. Number 2, The Sky is Crying, Stevie Ray Vaughan. And number 1, No Woman, No Cry, Bob Marley. Bobby from Midtown. Number 5, Makes You Want to Cry by Trapeze. Okay.
They're terrific artists, by the way.
Number 4, Honky Tonkers Don't Cry by Dale Watson. Number 3, Cry, Cry, Cry by Johnny Cash and the Tennessee 2. That was another one that I really wanted to get on my list, but couldn't. Number 2, No Woman, No Cry. And number 1, Cry Me a River, Joe Cocker live version.
Gabe, yesterday when I brought up the topic for today, you said, man, you're going to have a field day with country songs, right? With crying. Going to be a lot of choices.
A little corn. You figure there'd be some cornball songs, too.
Oh, dude, there's
sappy ones.
There is a lot of country music that there's no doubt there is no doubt that country music lives in the crying. I mean, I think Johnny Cash has like 4
right
that you could put in here. Over on Facebook, John, Don't Cry, Guns N' Roses, Cry, 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 Johnny Cash. I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. Cry to Heaven by Elton John, and Cry a While by Bob Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
Carolyn, Cry Dancing by Nina Nesbitt and NOTD.
NOTD?
Yep. Cry Pretty, Carrie Underwood. Crying in the Club, Camila Cabello.
Okay.
Cry Baby at number 2, Garnet Mims and the Enchanters.
Man.
And number 1, When Doves Cry.
We have to ask Carrie Underwood, is it really possible to cry pretty? Is crying pretty a thing?
She can.
Well,
she's pretty, but when she cries, does it make her prettier? No. I mean,
it doesn't make her prettier, but it doesn't make her ugly.
I'm going to
she's
guess.
still pretty.
I'm going to guess the amount of money she made on the Cry Pretty tour. It was pretty darn good. I don't know about that much. Billy on Facebook, number 5. I want to make you cry. Jeff Bates. Well, that's just rude. Why you want to make somebody cry? Number 4. She's not crying anymore. Billy Ray Cyrus. Billy Ray. I didn't know Billy Ray did another song other than Achy Breaky Heart.
Yeah, he did Old Town Road.
Old Town Road.
Yeah.
Number 3, she can't say I didn't cry. Rick Trevino, I think Lee's brother. Number 2, I'm so lonesome I could cry. And number 1, Don't Cry Joni by Conway Twitty.
Is it thundering outside?
Yes.
Okay.
John Honorable mentioned Crying in My Empty Bottle by Tom Waits. I've done that before. Carolyn Honorable mentioned Cry Baby, Janis Joplin. Some of those artists. What is NOTD? Will you look up NOTD, Gabe? What is NOTD? What's that mean? What's that stand for? Nina Nesbitt and NOTD. No touchdown. Look up no touchdown and see what it.
Not often. No. Could be.
It's pronounced noted.
Noted. Okay. How about that?
But I don't. It does not stand for anything. It just, I guess, noted is what.
Different
it's
variation of the spelling.
If you don't stand for anything, you'll fall. Or if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
What are our kids learning today in school? They can't get the spelling right on simple words.
Yeah, no kidding. Noted. Okay. I'll note that. That is duly noted now that is noted.
Duly noted. NOTD.
Duly noted that NOTD is noted. Let's see here. Another list on the First Bank text line. Number 5, Big Girls Don't Cry, 4 Seasons. Boys Don't Cry at number 4 by The Cure. Number 3, When Doves Cry. 2, Cry Like a Baby, The Box Tops. And number
Good
1,
song.
No Woman, No Cry.
Boys Don't Cry by The Cure was one that was close to making my list.
Some honorable mentions here of Cry Myself to Sleep by Del Shannon. I'm a big Del guy. Can't Cry Anymore, Sheryl Crow. Crying Over You, Roy Orbison. Let's see here.
These titles are making me sad.
It's going to make me cry.
Good God.
Somebody says Crying by Aerosmith. Let's see here. Here goes Nico. Honorable mention to Professional Widow War Cry Mix, Tori Amos. Number 5, Cry Like a Baby, Casey Chambers. Number 4, Wind Cries Mary, Jimi Hendrix. Number 3, When Doves Cry. Number 2, Don't Cry, Guns N' Roses. And number 1, Cry of the, I don't know if I guess Celtic by Flogging Molly. You familiar with the song?
Well, it's got to be Celtic if it's Flogging Molly, right? Isn't it some kind of Irish connection there? It's got to be Celtic, yeah. I'm not familiar with the song, though.
Never heard that one. That one's new to me. Let's see here. I think I've got through all of the list here. One of the texts came in just partially. I don't know. Dre, your text didn't come all the way through.
Yeah, but you can go ahead and text it in. We'll still get it in here, time permitting, before we wrap it up for the day.
No, somebody else comes with I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry by B.J. Thomas. Yeah, I think that song's been done by 30 different people.
Yeah, I didn't know B.J. Thomas did a rendition of it. So you thought today was sad with Cry or Crying. Sometime down the road, we'll do Tears. We'll do Tears. We haven't done that. But tomorrow we're going to do Smile. So we're going to go from crying to smile. Any song that has the word smile in the title would qualify for your 5 favorite songs. So think about that tonight. Put that together for tomorrow.
I can't think off the top of my head of a single song with Smile in the title.
Really? See, because you're a half-empty guy, man. You're a pessimist. You're not thinking about smiling and being happy. Plus, you never smile, so maybe that's part of it. When we come back,
I can't think of I'm trying to think of a song with Smile in it. I can't think of a.
Think during the break. Think during the
I
break.
don't. That's off the. I'm sure there's a lot, but I just thought always like to see what comes to mind when I hear the category for the first time and see, because usually it's going to be like that's very well. If I could think of it right off the top of my head, good chance that'll be my number one. I cannot think of a single song right now off the top of my head with "Smile" in the title of that song.
2.5 questions is next, plus another preseason watch list with a Memphis Tiger on it.
Watch list season continues, baby. I thought maybe I'd missed it with my vacation, but nope, it's still going on.
They're adding up. Here's Fergie to take us to the timeout.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1. Don't miss us.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1 FM, and 87.7 FM. As well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, tell Google or Alexa to play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned to real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
That's what protecting your car could sound like with 303 Touchless Sealant. Just spray on a wet surface, rinse off, and dry. It's the sound of twice the protection as traditional waxes and insane water beating you have to see to believe. Wait, this is radio, right? Okay, moving on. 303 Touchless Sealant. Visit 303radio.com for more information.
Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want what you're listening to be what you're listening to, right? Not what your roommates or family are listening to. Now is the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds. Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds, the best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable noise isolating fit. It's great for conference calls, video chats, or binging on podcasts. I do that too. It was co-founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. Now's your turn. See what the hype's about. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/herd. That's buyraycon.com/herd. 15% off. One more time. buyraycon.com/herd.
Save now on your 2021 swimming pool at Family Leisure. Buy now at 2020 pricing and save your spot for the first installation of 2021. Patio furniture 20 to 30% off. Play gyms in stock. Beat the heat with an indoor game table or slate pool table. Pool toys and floats up to 30% off. Family Leisure, Whit Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Family and fun come together.
Gateway Tire and Service Center has a beautiful new state-of-the-art location at 5275 Summer Avenue. And for July, the new location on Summer has a great special. Buy 3 tires and get the 4th at no charge. Visit the new Gateway Tire and Service Center with 28 bays for quick service, super safe with curbside service or lounge seating 6 feet apart. Check out GatewayTireandService.com for coupons too. The new Gateway Tire and Service Center, 5275 Summer Avenue. Call Matt for details, 901-683-8335.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Memphis Tigers junior center Dylan Parham was named to the Outland Trophy watch list today. The Outland Trophy given to the best interior lineman in college football. So now, if you're scoring at home, Brady White's on a watch list, Kenneth Gainwell's on a watch list, DeMonte Coxey's on a watch list, TJ Carter's on a watch list, Dylan Parham. I would bet Riley Patterson will be on the Groza watch list. We're running out of watch lists, I believe.
I hope so.
But just about every position is covered with the Tigers, with the exception of linebacker, which is the what award? Is that the Butkus?
Sure.
The linebacker. Is there a Butkus, a Nitschke? Is there a...
You get a watch list.
Everybody gets a watch. I'd rather get a watch. But Dylan Parham, congratulations. How good is Dylan Parham, Mr. Offensive Lineman?
Switched over from tight end a couple years ago. Really, really athletic. Played left guard every single year so far. I can't really say anything bad about the guy. I mean, he's been fantastic since he's moved over from tight end.
By the way, Eli and Raider Corey going back and forth a little bit on Twitter because Eli came up with I can't think of anything but smiling right off the bat. And, like, they just both texted each other or tweeted Smiling Faces Sometimes, which is a great song. But then I told Eli during the break, come on, man.
I didn't tweet anything, but okay.
Well, he tweeted it to you. Sorry. Sarah Smile, Hall & Oates. When I See You Smile, Bad English. Whenever I See Your Smiling Face, James Taylor. Make Me Smile, Chicago. Keep on Smiling. There's a lot of good smile songs, man. So your homework is cut out for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as you get ready for 5 favorite songs tomorrow.
I'm just nothing comes to the top of my head. Nothing against the topic, just that nothing pops up. There's been other ones that haven't, and then they end up being, I found a bunch of songs.
That's true, but maybe it's because you're such a lover of country music, and they don't smile too much in country music.
No, we like to be sad. It's about sadness and
that may
crying
be it.
and those types of things. Mid-South Ag Equipment, they'll smile there. And you'll be smiling if you go there for equipment needs, whether it be new equipment, used equipment. Maybe you just need some service on current equipment. They could take care of you at Mid-South Ag. They're online at midsouthag.com. If you go to their website, you can see their inventory of new equipment, see the inventory of used equipment. They've got deals going on, financing options for you right now that you can take advantage of. They've even got a section on there with maintenance and service tips to keep your equipment in good working order. They've got the Case IH Farmall series of tractors. They've got Bush Hog cutters. They've got lawnmowers, zero-turn lawnmowers from Bush Hog as well. They're just south of Collierville on Goodman Road, just off I-269. It's a half-mile west of the Goodman Road exit off of I-269. That's where you'll find them. And again, online at midsouthag.com. For whatever chores you have, well, you know you need the best equipment in the business, and the people that get that for you are the folks at Mid-South Ag. Time now for 2.5 questions.
Who, what, where, when, how, and why? Questions start with these. Step right up and answer all my questions, if you please.
I'm just a normal kid, like you, except that I ask questions. And because I'm brave enough to ask questions, I come under scrutiny.
Asking all them questions. Why you asking all them questions?
Now here is a question for you.
What does the fox say?
All right, question number 1. You're putting together a group to buy a professional sports franchise. First of all, what team are you buying?
Phillies.
All right. As part of your group, you get a former player from that sport. Doesn't necessarily have to be a former Philly, but a former player from that sport to join your group. Who's that?
Does it have to be a former player? Can't be a current player?
Has to be a former player.
Okay, I guess a current player is not allowed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because Mike Trout makes sense down the road when he's retired to be part of an ownership group of the Phillies because he's from Millville, New Jersey, which is 40 miles away, 30 miles away. All right, so a former player that I want as part of my team to purchase the Philadelphia Phillies, a former player. I'm going to stick with the organization. I'm going to go with Mike Schmidt.
Okay. A current player from another sport.
Current player from another sport. So they have to have ties, right? Like somebody's not going to just contribute money from if they have no affection for Philadelphia or for the organization. So I think I got to go with, and this is, you said a current player from with another sport, right? Current player. I think I'm going to use the money that Carson Wentz has. So it's going to be Carson Wentz, the quarterback of the Eagles, to purchase the Philadelphia Phillies, or at least use his money.
Okay. Interesting.
Well,
Carson Wentz.
Well,
Didn't see you going Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz has a huge contract. He's in Philadelphia. So that's what I'm just trying to put two and two together. Carson Wentz.
It doesn't have to be somebody that's in Philadelphia or has time. I mean, like
I think
Travis Kelce, part of the Mets ownership team, doesn't make any sense.
Wouldn't this person need a lot more money than what Carson Wentz has, especially in sponsorships and everything else?
We're not talking. I mean, this is part of a
theoretical,
bigger
of course.
group. Yeah, this isn't going to be. This is all of the money you have. Obviously, I don't think Greg's going to be a huge contributor in this.
No, $20. Maybe I can go 50 at most. I'm going to stick with Carson Wentz. He's becoming a fan favorite in Philadelphia. Schmitty, of course, one of the all-time greats. Are we adding any other people to this team?
And then you need a non-athlete celebrity.
Non-athlete celebrity. I'm going with Sly Stallone. The connection with Philadelphia, the Rocky statue in front of the Art Museum. He has plenty of money. Sylvester Stallone to help contribute to the team to buy the Phillies. I like that team right there. Sly Stallone, Carson Wentz, and Mike Schmidt.
I like it other than Carson Wentz.
You know what?
Carson Wentz is a bad choice, but whatever.
Well, I'm just thinking the Philly connection and all that, but you're right. I probably could go somewhere else with that. But I may change up to Will Smith. He's from Philadelphia. He has a lot of money as well. Plus, I bring a minority owner onto this team because I'm too lily white. And Will Smith is loved by everybody. So I'm going to go Will Smith, Mike Schmidt, and I think you've talked me out of Carson Wentz. So I'm going to bring on an obvious choice who has nothing to do with Philadelphia whatsoever and is going to turn me down cold. But since you said it could be anybody, I'm going Peyton Manning to join my ownership team. Because maybe one day...
He's not a current player.
Huh?
Peyton Manning's not a current player.
Current player. Darn. Current player, let me go, because I'm going to change from Wentz. If I could find somebody good here, it makes sense. I'm going to go Drew Brees. So Drew Brees, current player, no Philly connection, lots of money, big name. Mike Schmidt, of course, one of the biggest names in Philadelphia sports history, Hall of Famer, and then going Will Smith, who's from Philadelphia, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and a lot of money as well. That's my group. I like that group.
Why Breeze?
I just thought of somebody who's going to be in the Hall of Fame, has a lot of money, still plays at a high level, and I could see him as like being a part of an ownership group.
What about LeBron?
We don't want LeBron in Philly. Stinking LeBron. No, I'm only kidding. No, LeBron James, I mean, that's an obvious one too.
Okay.
But okay.
Gabe, who would you buy, by the way? What team would you buy?
Oh gosh, what a question. I don't want to be lame and just say the Cardinals, I'll venture out and I'll say the Titans. Say the Titans. Nashville's a growing city. Have a lot of stuff you can do around that city. I think there's a lot of outreach that can be done, and I think that's a good franchise to get in on right now.
I think you're right.
You certainly have a lot of choices in the non-athlete celebrity category with all the country music stars.
Yeah,
if you want to have somebody.
There's a lot of money that could be ponied up. How about I thought maybe you would go Cardinals.
That's what I said. I said I didn't want to be lame and pick Cardinals. And the Cardinals are already just truthfully, they're sort of, as much as this pains me to say, they're at their peak. Like, St. Louis is not really a massively growing city day by day, and the Cardinals have won 11 championships, so their money, I feel like you could add value to the Titans, whereas the Cardinals, it's going to be.
If Cardinals are in the past, is that what you're thinking?
No, I'm not saying they're in the past. Okay. I'm not saying they're in the past. They'll still beat the Cubs and handle that. But I just think they have.
Shot at him,
hey, I know which one.
I just think that their value is really high. Their value is really high right now.
Okay, I can see that.
All right, question number 2. As I watched, again, I didn't watch it last night, but last night the Cubs and White Sox playing another exhibition game, and Eloy Jimenez is the fourth hitter of the game, hit a grand slam off Yu Darvish. I know, and it's going to pain me for the next 15 years, Eloy Jimenez is going to be the one player that I will never understand why or how the Cubs decided to get rid of him and make a terrible trade. Who's your all-time, from any of your favorite teams, who's your all-time player that got away?
Whoa, good question. Let me think. May take some time. Got to go through my Colts history.
I mean, there to me, it seems like there would be a couple really obvious ones for you, but
you're probably thinking more of what, Phillies?
I can think of one for the Phillies, one for the Colts.
Colts would be, wasn't it Elway? Was that the Colts?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it would certainly be John Elway. I also think going back in time, we had Ted Hendricks, and then he went to the Raiders, and he became a Hall of Fame. I think Ted Hendricks is in the Hall of Fame. He may not be. I think he is. Can you look that up, Gabe, if Ted Hendricks is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? If not, he was a perennial Pro Bowler. But, yeah, John Elway would be the one. He didn't want to play there. From the Phillies standpoint, he's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he's Hall of Fame.
Elway's a little different because, obviously, with the fact that it's not like they had him and he would have played there like that. They were kind of forced into that one, so that one's a little different than the guy who was willing to play for you and you just decided to trade him or let him go for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who the Phillies let get away. I know. I absolutely know. It's Ryan Sandberg.
Yeah, that's the one I thought of, obviously, because he's rather obvious for me.
Yes. Yeah, it's Ryan Sandberg. I mean, my memory's not the best, so I had to think about it for a little bit. Yeah, absolutely, Ryan Sandberg. I mean, the Phillies were good in actually making really good trades. Like the Rick Wise, Steve Carlton trade was huge to be able to get Lefty in Philadelphia for all those great years. They made terrific moves. They usually weren't on the other side of the bad move, but with the Cubs, they made so many trades with the Cubs. But the Sandberg thing, yeah, that would come back to haunt the Phillies, no question.
Gabe, is there one for you?
Not in particular. I do remember, I believe the Cardinals, when they got Mark Mulder after that, after his Cy Young year, they shipped off Dan Herron, and they shipped off 3 different guys. I think there was like a couple relievers and Dan Herron, but I really can't think of any for my teams.
I mean, they happen more in baseball than any other sport because you could guys in the minor league, you trade him, and then he ends up being a great player. And some of those guys you would never have seen it coming. The Cubs, Eloy Jimenez, you could see it coming. He's one of the top prospects in baseball through his whole minor league career before they decided to make the terrible trade. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously, and
Mark Mulder, and then giving away Dan Herron. And getting Mark Mulder for terrible years in St. Louis, that's an interesting one.
Didn't the Cubs give away Lou Brock?
Yes,
Cubs have a few. Cubs certainly have a few. Cardinals haven't been that bad.
I mean, Cardinals got Ozzie for Templeton.
I think
Templeton wasn't a bad player, but that was a great get to get Ozzie. But that's getting the player, not losing the player.
The recent ones, they shipped off Tommy Pham. That was one they could have kept.
He's not going to be one they're going to regret that.
They're not. I don't know if they're. I mean, he's a good player. And then Luke Voit, they shipped him off.
Right.
So
hitting dingers for the Yanks.
Yeah. So I there's not any that are too bad for my teams.
From your knowledge of when you started watching them. Obviously, you go back in history. I mean, you could find all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't have great knowledge of like the 40s and 50s and 60s. So.
And 70s and 80s.
Hey, 70s and 80s. Now you can get in my wheelhouse there. I can handle that.
Question number 3. With Myers Leonard being the champion beer shotgunner, apparently, of the NBA bubble, give me your rankings of what you believe or who you would believe would be the top 3 Grizzlies beer chuggers.
Top 3 Grizzlies beer chuggers. Okay.
Easy money at number 1. Jonas Valanciunas.
Well, yeah, I think
easy money.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah,
I already had him in my mind.
I think everybody would probably put him number 1.
Okay. I think Dylan Brooks. I don't even know if these guys drink alcohol or not, but Dylan Brooks seems like a guy that would be able to guzzle.
If Chandler Parsons was here, him and Jonas would be a good battle.
Oh, gosh. But let's see. I don't know. Some of these guys could be like just against alcohol. They don't drink at all. But I'm going to go Dylan Brooks. Jonas Valanciunas is an obvious one, in my opinion. And then the third one,
Think Grayson Allen could drink a beer?
No.
I do, actually. I would. I don't know.
Was it all the white guys? The only ones that are beer guzzlers?
I don't know if I'd have. I don't think I'd have him top 3, but I do. I have a feeling Grayson Allen has shotgunned a beer or two.
Yeah, let's go. Marco Guduric, Grayson Allen.
Hey, I was going to say Brandon Clark.
I'd
say Brandon Clark. I think Brandon
all
Clark
the
could do
white
it.
guys.
He was in college for a while.
He was. I got a feeling he's like a vegetarian type guy. He doesn't.
That's to me that you just said the magic thing. I think like guys who went to college for like, especially if you spent 4 years in college.
Well, that's why I picked Brooks with Oregon and all that. But who am I missing here? Let's see. Jang and
I do think
Tolliver.
Conchar would be up on my list.
Yeah, well, you know him a little bit better because you know.
I do think Brandon Clark, as you said, would be a possibility.
Tolliver, he's older. We give him. You could drink.
I don't know.
Beer.
Yeah, I don't know if he's guzzling.
Let's put him on the list.
Is Kyle Anderson guzzling?
I think Justice Winslow could.
That's the one guy I was thinking.
But there's one other one that I think still would be
an
my
obvious.
Choice, would be my third.
Jaren Jackson Jr.
No,
I don't think so.
He's not even old enough yet.
He's never tasted beer. Yeah, I'm sure. The fine taste. There's one that's obvious. You said
not necessarily obvious. Of just Jonas would certainly be in my top 3.
Are you gonna make me say Josh Jackson?
Yes,
that's
Jackson.
The one. Okay, that's the one you're going.
Actually,
you know what?
There's no doubt Josh Jackson.
Hey, Josh Jackson strikes me as a hard liquor guy.
Nah, you know what? You guys are right. Josh Jackson is. I didn't even think about him. I'm going Dylan Brooks, Josh Jackson, Jonas Valanciunas.
You're putting Jonas third?
No particular order. Jonas would be one.
I'm asking for in order.
Oh, Jonas.
You're ranking your top 3.
Jonas 1, Josh Jackson 2, Dylan Brooks 3.
Jonas strikes me as a guy who can drink like 50 beers in one sitting with how big he is.
I would go Jonas, Jackson, probably Conchar, but I think Justice Winslow would be up there. I have a feeling Justice Winslow could.
I would really like to know, like, if these guys, like, which guys drink alcohol, some probably don't, and see how close or off we'd be with these guesses. Because, like I said, Brooks to me seems like, college guy, Oregon, he's probably down some beers, and he probably shotgun a beer pretty well, and then you find out like he's never had alcohol in his life or something. So I have no idea. A couple other things real quick. The SWAC, and this was announced yesterday, has postponed all their fall sports. So you have a number of different conferences, but SWAC, no football, MEAC, no football. And again, these most of these that we've heard are 1AAs, but these FCS schools, a lot of them are on the Power 5 or the Group of 5 schedules. Not a lot of them, but some of them. And so then you're going to have a reshuffling if those conferences, and we're talking now about the FBS conferences, end up having more than just conference games, although we know the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are not going in that direction.
New Life Medical Center is located at 9160 Highway 64, online at newlifemedcenters.com. They're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Also Saturday hours from 9 until 1 for you to go on by and see them. They do a lot of things to help you feel better. They primary and urgent care. They treat low testosterone. That's what I go see them for over at New Life Medical Center. But also sports injuries. They can take care of those. They do physicals. And you don't need an appointment to go see them either over at New Life Medical Center. Again, 9160 Highway 64. It's the shops of Stonebridge there, not far from I-40, of course, right near Stonebridge Golf Course. But go on by, see them again between 7:30 and 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 1 on Saturday. Matter of fact, I'll be stopping by there this afternoon to see the folks over at New Life Medical Center.
When we come back, our final segment, Gabe Kapler took a knee yesterday during the national anthem, along with a few players from the San Francisco Giants. Are we going to see more of that, or is he going to be the oddity as far as managers are concerned in Major League Baseball? This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender.
It's the perfect time for a powerful business refresh during Dell Technologies Cyber Savings Event. It starts now with up to 50% off high-performance Windows 10 business laptops, desktops, and servers, plus top-brand electronics. It's also your chance to streamline IT and simplify PC life cycles with PC as a service. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 10 Pro for business. Call 877-ASK-DELL for a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find the right tech. That's 877-ASK-DELL or visit Dell.com/smallbusinessdeals.
Ugh, my stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's now in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And now you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Let me try it.
Try new Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Do you suffer from an overly weighted plantar aspect, otherwise known as lead foot? Do you suddenly break out with fierce, white-knuckled fits of enthusiasm? If so, Mercedes-AMG may be right for you. Meticulously tested, obsessively crafted, Mercedes-AMG has over 50 years of proven, track-tested research and development. Whether you favor the timeless elegance of Mercedes sedans, the curvy charisma of a two-door coupe, or the rock-solid ruggedness of their SUVs, Mercedes-AMG remains the leader of engineering driving performance, delivering unparalleled measures of exhilaration. In fact, the AMG experience is the most potent form of automotive excitement you can get without actually having a professional racing license. Call your local authorized dealer or visit mbusa.com/AMG and find out if Mercedes-AMG is right for you. Mercedes-AMG, driving performance.
All 75 months at 3.14 APR, G4, LHF 07822, Outlander LUO 28772, Eclipse LZO 16320. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 59875 excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Drive your ambition with a new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, $149 a month with 41 MPG highway, or buy for $12,435. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport is ready for any adventure at $229 a month, or buy for $18,533. And cross over to summer in a 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. Only $19,147 or $239 per month. And better yet, they're all backed by a stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage G4, $149 a month. Outlander Sport, $229 a month. And Eclipse Cross, $239 a month. Feel safe and confident while shopping at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike. Or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Couple of notes. Syracuse will not be allowed to have fans for home football games following an announcement by New York Governor Andrew Cuomo banning fans from sporting events in the state of New York. Also, we've been talking about the NBA awards voting. It will be conducted between July 21st. Is that today? Yep, between today and the 28th, so before the season resumption, and those awards will be announced during the playoffs.
A couple of texts here. Somebody texted and they said, Kyle Anderson, definitely. He's like the guy at the gym who plays like 3 or 4 games and goes out to the parking lot and downs a couple of 40s.
I thought about Kyle Anderson for a second, but I'm like, I don't know. He'll probably end up being.
He doesn't seem like a mellow guy to me.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me as a beer chugger. I could see him drinking beer, but I don't see him as a guy who could shotgun beers. That's just, I don't know. I mean, this is all guessing. I've never seen any of them. Mario hit us up on Facebook with his song list for today. 10,000 Angels Cry, Leanne Rimes. I Don't Want to Cry, Mariah Carey. One Last Cry, Brian McKnight. Not Gonna Cry, Mary J. Blige. And When Doves Cry. So he came with, for those first 4 songs, I don't think were mentioned by anybody else.
And all big artists. All names on his list. Last night, during the Giants exhibition game, I forget who they were playing, national anthem, Gabe Kapler, the former Philly skipper, who's now the skipper of the Giants, and a couple of players, not every player, took a knee. Do you think this is something that we'll see a lot of?
Yes.
With the managers?
Well, I don't know about managers.
That's what I mean, the managers. I mean, that's.
I'm sure there will be some.
I mean, this is unprecedented territory, is it not? With a manager taking a knee? I mean, I've seen coaches on the sidelines, NFL games, locked in arms in unison. NBA coaches before games locked in arms with their players and everybody else in unison. I have never seen, to this point, a coach, manager in this case, take a knee. Gabe Kapler is more on the younger side. I don't know. It would be...
Well, yeah, the only ones that would, I mean, we haven't seen anybody in baseball or basketball do it at all. So
baseball, Kapler.
No, I'm saying before now. I mean,
yeah.
You said you've never seen it before. It would have only been NFL coaches who would have been a possibility.
Well, I just meant in general with any kind of any sporting event. Since Kaepernick's thing was 4 years ago, I haven't seen any coach, anybody. I don't want to say in authority, but the coach, the manager, the skipper, do something like that till now. But I do believe you're right. We'll see more of it. I just don't know if we'll see more of it in Major League Baseball. That's why I brought it up, because it was interesting. Gabe Kapler, again, more on the younger side, having been a player pretty recent, and now a skipper, of course.
He's not the one that got away for you?
No. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I mean, think about the situation we're in. I think the Phillies could have a special year. And again, we're going to make our predictions for the Major League Baseball season on Thursday. The season will begin on Thursday. 60-game schedule this year for Major League Baseball.
By the way, we did also get a list here, or a suggestion for a song list with "Laugh" in the title, which we have not done yet. It's another uplifting one, more.
Yeah, that's
rather
one.
Than cry.
That's one I've had written down. I got a number that I've written down, and hopefully we'll get to. But thank you for that suggestion. Keep those coming in. But again, tomorrow it's going to be "Smile" for our 5 favorite songs.
Time now for one final thing.
Before Greg and Eli get out of here for the day, they each have one final thing they think you should know to make it through the rest of your day. So here are Greg and Eli with one final thing.
The NBA and Jordan brand announced today that all 30 NBA Statement Edition uniforms will now feature the Jumpman logo starting next season, or the 2020-21 season. The Statement Edition uniform is one of the league's alternate jerseys worn for big games or rivalries, usually featuring an alternate color scheme. The Jumpman logo will appear on the right shoulder of the jersey and left leg of the shorts, replacing the Nike swoosh. These uniforms will hit retail stores in October. You got to find ways to bring back some of that money, right? And people will be buying this apparel in hordes. Anytime they get the Jumpman on there, anytime they get the Michael Jordan legacy, they will be buying those. So probably a good little move there by the National Basketball Association.
The G League players have indeed unionized. They have formed the Basketball Players Union. That's the temporary name of it. The Basketball Players Union. Approximately 80% of G League players voted to authorize the BPU to serve as their collective bargaining representative. So they will represent them, of course. Now they can collective bargain on things such as salaries, benefits, other situations. Now the NBA Players Association will still represent guys on two-way contracts, but the other guys, the regular G League players now do have their Basketball Players Union representing them. See if that, and they're also going to represent those guys on the new NBA select team. That's going to be a part of this as well for those guys who, even though they're not going to be playing a regular G League schedule, they will be represented with this Basketball Players Union.
We're talking about the Gabe Kapler decision to take a knee. Joe Madden, who's the former Cubbies skipper and now in his first year with the Halos, he said that he and the team, who did not take knees, by the way, were totally supportive of the one player who did, Kenyon Middleton, and his decision to not only kneel, but to hold up his right fist in the air prior to the team's Monday exhibition game. I'm not sure if any other players knelt, but according to the story USA Today Sports, I don't know if they did. But certainly Kenyon Middleton decided to do so, and Joe Madden said, yep, we support it. I think you're going to get that an awful lot as well. Everybody's going to take a knee, but there's going to be no, we're against what he's doing thing. It's all going to be supported.
Yeah, there's no way any manager is going to be like, no, we don't support these guys doing that.
Right. And even owners will come out of the woodwork to say we support it.
Mark Cuban's talked about kneeling with his team.
Well, Cuban's a whole different animal. There's no question he's going to do something. But even like the older, more rigid, old school guys, I think some of them will even come out and say they're actually supportive of this when they've never said that in the past since
and
the
Jerry
Kaepernick name.
Jerry Jones will just remain silent.
Yeah, Jerry Jones he's in ice somewhere. They've frozen Jerry somewhere. God forbid, Jerry may have already passed and his body's frozen somewhere. Want to thank Howard Balzer and Steve Macy for joining us on the program today. Tomorrow we're going to talk a lot of golf. It's our four-man scramble. It's Wednesday. We'll make our picks for the 3M Classic. But next week, of course, is the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational, and we'll have the President and General Chairman, Jack Sammons, joining us on the program tomorrow. Working on some other guests as well for you. And then, again, 5 favorite songs. The subject tomorrow will be Smile. Make sure Smile is in the topic or in the title of your song. That'll do it for now. Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio is coming up next. For Eli Savoy and for Gabe Kuhn, I'm Greg Gaston. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, everybody.
That cackle babble head in the box must think I'm dumb as